And a big good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to AMX. It is Sunday evening and we are here for race 39 of AMX Season 5. We start our evening off located in Alton, Virginia, near Danville. This is, of course, the Virginia International Raceway, and our AMX Zero races will kick off the evening here in the Toyota GR86. A fabulous little car that can provide some fabulous racing. My name's Evan Dalton. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. Joining alongside me, of course, is Amir. Amir, how are you keeping?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Evan. And a bit of a shame that we didn't get to see some of the races yesterday, but today we just served up probably the best two combinations of the lot. Yes, AMX Zero may be the appetizer, but the main course after this is AMX20. So very good races. But tonight, first order business, it's Virginia International Raceway, one of the most beautiful circuits in the United States, and with a really good car to just combine, just to match it up.
Yeah, we've seen this car before this season, and it has been nothing but pure cinema. A really good car to race around one of America's most unique circuits. We'll have a little bit more on that in a couple of moments' time, but it's going to be an exciting one, folks. Make sure you do stick around with us here for the entirety of our AMX Zero and AMX 20 races. Make sure as well after to check out some more AMX content on all our social media channels that you can see below myself and Amir on the screen. And of course, if you do want to race yourself, you can check out amxrace.com. We will talk more about this fabulous Toyota and this fabulous Virginia International Raceway in a couple of moments, but as always, we got to run you through a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the main events of tonight's action. As you can see, AMX SimRacing World Championship Season 5 started in May. It will end in a couple of weeks' time, actually. We're getting nearly there. We're almost at August 18th. Most races in a year. Fabulous varieties of car and track combinations, a $15,000 prize pool, as well as some next level racing gear thanks to our sponsors. The AMX Zero format is a 15-minute qualifier, then a top 15 reverse grid, then we go to Heat 1, which will be another 15 minutes, and then we have a top 15 reverse grid, and then another heat of 15 minutes. The prize amounts for every standings are the same for every single session. Driver cams required as always. We want to see those beautiful faces and beautiful sim rigs. You can join via the AMX Discord and AMXRace.com. Speaking of AMXRace.com, if you want to race anytime, you can do so. Sign up, join, get in, and we would love to see you on the grid. And if you do well, your balances over $100 will be paid out each month. And of course, we race on Saturdays and Sundays. AMX 5 on Saturdays and Sundays, then that's at 5:50 p.m. GMT, apologies, and then it's another AMX 5 at 7:20 p.m. GMT, and then the next week on the Saturday we'll have two AMX 5 races at 5:50 p.m. GMT and 7:20 p.m. GMT, and then on the Sunday we have AMX 0 at 5:50 p.m. GMT. That is a lot more difficult to say than it sounds, and then AMX 20 at 7 p.m. GMT. That, of course, being tonight's action. So next week we return to the two AMX 5 races, and then after that we'll have the AMX 5 and the AMX 0 and AMX 20 weekend to round us off the season. The prize pool, of course, for AMX 0, $5 if you take yourself pole position, or if you take yourself 15th place, then it goes down to 4, 3, 2, 175, 150, 125, 1, 90 cent, 80 cents, 70, 60, 50, 40, and 25. It's the exact same for heat number 1 and heat number 2. The only additional bonus is $1 prize for the fastest lap. Total per race, a whopping $73. Not bad for AMX Zero. Now, of course, we've spoken enough about this fabulous Virginia International Raceway. I'm going to hand it over to Amir to take you through the ups and downs of this circuit.
Yeah, certainly, Evan. And it has been quite a journey for this circuit. As you can see, you said it's Danville, but it is correct as well. But particularly, we're in the region of Alton in North Carolina. Wow, that's actually quite a close one to that particular state county, but we are in Virginia after all. Opened in 1957, but closed in 1974, would you believe it? Before it became farmland between 1975 and 1999. It fell into disrepair. Only just the outline of the circuit remained, and part of it was actually just retained for the sake of the farmer who owned land, just to give anybody to come here taste of what it was like to race in the 50s. But the circuit was saved after 2000, and beyond that, it has been revived as one of the most beautiful circuits in the world. And in this particular case, we're running the full Grand Prix layout, 5.26 kilometers. And for the extra matchup alongside it, we have a good car that we've seen some really good races prior to this before. It is the Toyota GR86. And in this particular car, it competes in the TGR North America Cup, which is fitting, isn't it? Because we're racing at Virginia now. Pretty much a home track for this thing. 228 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, 1.3 tons, and slightly better gearbox is what you should be saying for sequential, but in actuality, it is a sequential gear stick. So the drivers just pull through the gears and push it forwards to lower it. So really good car and track combo. Can't wait to see how it goes along the full Grand Prix layout. So it is going to be just side-by-side action all the way, because slower cars really provide good action, Evan.
Yes, they do. It's a lovely little nippy car, this Toyota GR86, 2.4 litre engine, 228 brake horsepower, as you've seen on your screen. I think it's going to be a very interesting one heading from turn number 12 down towards turn number 14 in the longest straight of the circuit. It's very similar, I suppose, to a Mazda MX-5 Cup car, this one, and they always provide good racing around these North American circuits, which is really interesting indeed. You can see it now there on the track. No, apologies, that was Snetterton we were looking at, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the earlier race we had in this car combination. And I tell you what, that was a really interesting race at Snetterton. We saw some really, really good action, and I imagine that's going to continue here this evening. We're going to head into qualifying now, though, folks. We're 6 minutes and 50 seconds into it. Currently top of the order is a very familiar name here in AMX Zero. It's Ethan Reutemann.
Yep, indeed, and some other guest stars here tonight, because it is quite a stacked grid in terms of how many drivers are on the circuit. So really, it's going to be the drivers' impetus here to give each other room. And the thing is, we might actually have a familiar face on the grid here, because normally we see him in the commentary box, but we're going to see him out on the circuit. Kevin Garcia. So Kevin is going to be out on track here tonight as well. Yep, he's on the timing screen, but he's not on track at the moment.
Yeah, his name completely slipped me in the timing screen. It's always great to have Kevin out on the circuit, because it goes to show that commentators can drive. We do more than just talking at screens. It's great to see Kevin there, and Kevin is just on an outlap now, currently in 15th place in qualifying, so technically pole position, but we'll see can he improve upon his time to take a bigger prize pool. Kevin loves racing anything on four wheels, and it's always great to see him out there on the circuit, and great to see him in Simrig as well. But Ethan Reutemann, currently quickest of the times, with a very similar time to Ralph Benitez, 2:08.132 for Ethan, and 2:08.173 for Ralph Benitez. They are 3/10 per second ahead of Gaston Kilhavy. He's then ahead of Spetroniv, Lorente, Dantas Sadei, and Bruno De Carmo, and 8th then it is Lavera, Agnolan, apologies, I was going to say Agnelli, which is some form of racing driver or motorcycle racer, I believe. And then we look a little bit further down into those who maybe have not got a proper time on the board yet. But with these, Kevin, a little bit wide. I was going to say, with these cars, qualifying obviously is important because of AMX, but anything can change in the race.
Absolutely. And a nice little touch that Kevin actually has a Dr. Robotnik helmet as his choice of colors there. So, no, we can't call it Egghead. That's his nickname, but either way, Robotnik helmet, nice little touch. Hopefully he can actually sonic his way up to the front of the grid later on, as we look at more and more drivers here actually backing up a bit just to give themselves gap. But tell that to Ethan Reutemann, he's still on it. He might be impeded here, and he is.
Yeah, not going to be happy with that one is Ethan Reutemann. He has been blocked there, just heading in towards the final couple of corners of the hog pen. He will pull into the pit lane and will play. He will play further apart, but not right now. You see a lot of drivers bailing out there and cutting across the yellow sort of paint there. The drivers clearly allowed to do that. They know the ins and outs of pit lanes around circuits like these, which would have been driven a lot. Here is Gaston Kilhavy we're currently looking at. Keep an eye on Bruno De Carmo as well, although he's actually finished the lap, went purple in the first sector, but he has finished the lap. This is Gaston Kilhavy we are looking at. You can see there, just running the number 15 is Gaston. Had a good season last season, was 4th overall in the AMX 10 championship, and was 4th overall in the AMX rear-wheel driven championship, which shockingly enough led to 4th overall in the overall championship. So it was good from Gaston, the Argentine driver. Guess where Gaston is in this year's AMX Zero championship so far? He's 4th overall. So Gaston is looking to pick up some good points and maybe break that streak of just being one position off the top 3.
Indeed, and the fact that 4th seems to be a running gag for him on this one. Though he'll love to put that to bed in this particular race because he is in P3 in qualifying. Of course, when we flip the script on his head, he will start further behind. But P3 to get off to a good start here, I think he will love to put that hoodoo to bed.
Yeah, I think so. I think he would like to improve upon 4th in the championship, but it's boding nicely to be a 4th place in the championship. Here is Ruben Lorente, who we are looking at in the very white-looking Toyota GR86. Not much of a paint scheme on there, maybe for weight-saving reasons, or maybe he forgot to load trading paints. But in through the final corners comes Ruben Lorente. Not much of an improvement in any of the sectors on this lap. Remember, if you see purple, that means the driver is going quickly, but he's going to stay out on his lap. Currently 4th in qualifying, needs to find about 0.4 of a second if he wants to beat Gaston Gilhavy. He's given a nice tow to the car behind is Ruben Lorente Jr., so he will be probably not wanting to do that. Actually, you don't really want to tow your fellow competitors. Martin Chico is on a great lap here. This could well go towards the top of the times and beat Ethan Reutemann. Across the line comes Martin Chico, and it's going to be a 2:09.5, I think, so just a little bit shy of the top of the order. No, it's a 2:08.3, so 3rd for Chico, and that is a good lap indeed. Now 3 of the top 4 all Argentinian drivers, and then 1 Brazilian mixed in amongst them.
Yeah, and he's actually giving a tow to one of his teammates there in the same livery, well, not so same livery car, but it is part of the same team. It's SART, South American Racing Team car. In fact, this is the Academy car that he's driving right now, so Chico actually is doing well here to stay ahead and not impede his teammate right behind. But the thing is, through some of these wiggly bits, it might become a bit of a struggle to get clear of the driver behind, and the driver behind will find a hard time trying to get some speed here because there's an immediate driver in front of him.
Yes, we get into a very sort of twisty section here, as you can see, and the last kind of thing you want is a driver in front, but then you get to the second sector, or second and third sectors I should say, and it's a long straight, and that's exactly when you want the driver in front of you. So it's kind of a balancing act here to work with your teammates. If you do want to provide a slipstream, that's going to be very wide for Martin Chico, so the driver behind him has had him in his way for the first sector where you don't want it, and he won't have him here for the second sector, but there is a car in front, he can get a slipstream off. Gerard Santini Jr. improving upon his time, so we ride on board with him now, heading down into the roller coaster of 14 and 14A. American circuits love to put letters in their corners, by the way. So technically there is more than 17 corners, but there's a 14A and there's a 17A as well as a 14 and a 17, so we'll let them sort that out amongst themselves. This is turn number 17 and 17A of the Hog Pen, and Gerard Santini Jr. is rounding through there now, looking to improve upon his time and jump up towards the top of the order and break the South American grasp upon this top 5. And here comes Gerard Sardini. He will improve upon his time. We're just waiting to see where he goes. No, doesn't actually jump up. He had a poor final sector.
And key point to note, it can't get any more American by the fact that if you look at the track map, there's no turn 13, so the hoodoo based on triskaidekaphobia extends to racing circuits as well, so that's why we have 14 and 14A, and I think around the other circuit there's even a turn 5A, so yeah, it's some superstitions going around here, but oh well, it is what it is. We'll just refer to the corners as they are.
I know Road Atlanta has the final chicane as 10 and 10A, so I'm not sure about that one either, because like even if they didn't put 10A, they wouldn't have 13 corners, so we'll let them just do their thing. Ethan Reutemann improving upon his time, but you can see he is amongst some traffic, and the number 84 going to have to weave his way around the car in front if he wants to set the quickest time of the order. Currently hasn't improved upon his 2:08.132, but he hasn't had to, so still doing very well indeed, but I'm not sure he'll be able to improve upon this time because it does seem that tad bit slower in the first sector. The stream chat, I gotta say, loving the American drivers here tonight. It's great to see some USA representation around the American circuit in the form of our very own Kevin Garcia, of course.
Yep. Alongside him is Recupero and Granadillo. So that's quite a eclectic mix of American drivers on board here, but love to have them either way. Though Granadillo is the fastest of the lot. He's in P11 right now, and he will start P5 once we flip the script. Though the other drivers on the lap, they have not been able to complete it because qualifying has come to an end, and it looks as though it is gonna be Carlos Ayrton Reutemann who's gonna be right at the back. Salvatore Ferrandino is gonna be on pole.
Did you say Carlos Reutemann?
Yes, I did. It was a Freudian slip.
Because I've gone to say that about 10 times since he's joined AMX, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. But it is the seeming relation of Carlos Reutemann, Ayrton Reutemann, who is top of the order with a 2:08.132. He will start 15th here in this one, but he does take the $5 prize pool and is your BenQ session winner. Ralph Benitez in second with Martin Chico in third. Gaston Colhavi in fourth with Ruben Lorente Jr. in fifth. Then it is Philippe Spetronev in sixth ahead of Bruno De Carmo in seventh. Evandro Dantas in 8th ahead of Gerard Sardini Jr. in 9th. Ricardo Lavera in 10th ahead of Pablo Granadillo in 11th. Then it is Fernando Agnolon in 12th with Thiago Pereira in 13th. And it is Mateus Machado in 14th ahead of Salvatore Fernandino in 15th, which is a very Italian name. I absolutely love it. Carlos Reyes then in 16th ahead of Kevin Garcia and Pablo Ricobero. Very interesting race coming up here. We've got a large grid of fairly smaller cars around a very large and quick circuit. This one should be interesting.
Indeed, and he was going to start, and it's a standing start here, so turn 1 affairs is going to be on top of the list here, Devin.
Yes, turn number 1 could be very interesting indeed. We do have a standing start, it seems, here in Virginia International Raceway, the 5.262 kilometre circuit, 17 corners, lap record currently held by Lucas Lurin at LMP1. We're not going to get close to that today. Sorry to spoil your evening, folks. But a track with a lot of history. This one has hosted the IMSA GT3 Challenge, Moto America, F4 US Championships, the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, North American Championship, and now AMX as we go racing in towards turn number 1. Or are we fully racing? It seems like the driver's getting up to speed. Yes, we are. Wasn't sure if it was a formation app or not, but we are up to speed, and Mateus Machado is immediately taking the race lead here. Ayrton Reutemann looking to cut through the field, but Ruben Lorente Jr. has had a bit of a problem, as has Philippe Spetronev, and there goes Ralph Benitez. Problems for Benitez heading through the horseshoe.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, he got caught up on the inside there. It might be the preferable line, but due to the radius of that first turn, anyone on the outside can just easily cut across by getting the grip, and that's exactly what happened to Benitez, where someone did cut across him and he just clutched the short straw. So he's gonna have a long way to work here through the 7-lap race. As another guy spins, and that's his teammate.
Yes, that's Spetronev, who goes off in towards turn number 16. Very disappointing for those guys here off the start. Great start for Mateus Machado, though, as you can see, he leads away down towards the oak tree at turn number 11 and 12. He's followed by Ferrandino and Pereira, the Italian and the Brazilian right behind. You can see just has a nice healthy gap that could all be cut down with the slipstream down towards turn number 14 and 14A, though, so got to be very careful of that. Still looking like he is extending the margin though out of the exit of that corner, and should be okay even with the monster slipstream in these cars. You've got to take first gear through some of the slower corners here. Got to accelerate nicely out of them and get your exit and your traction perfect. Here's Gerard Sardini Jr. looking to try and make the move on Evandro Dantas. You can see Pereira getting past Fernandino as well as we dive down in towards the braking zone of turn number 14. It is still Machado, Pereira, Fernandino, Bruno De Carmo, and then it is Gerard Sardini Jr. gets past Evandro Dantas.
Yeah, man, that was a clean pass, a very typical pass here at Virginia, because it's on the back straight coming to the roller coaster chicane. Exactly what you want, but Sardini looks as though he's going to get Dantas back on him. In fact, that might be the Carmo actually going past Ferrandino. So again, many overtaking positions happening, and these cars just provide that kind of action side by side all the way. As we did say before, the slow cars really provide good action, and there is the proof in the pudding.
Opening lap went well for both Argentines of Martin Chico and Ethan Reutemann. 6 and 7 positions gained respectively, and Chico wants that little bit more, going for the move on Gerard Sardeni. He's on the outside, heading in towards the NASCAR bend of turn number 3. Is he able to get that one done? He is. He's ahead of the Spaniard, and now up to 6th place. Evandro Dantas looking to get past Fernandino. You can see they're side by side and come to contact. That's going to be Evandro Dantas, who goes spinning down the field. He's recovered it fairly nicely. Should be able to stay here within touching distance, but that is a real hammer blow for what was looking like a good race for the Brazilian.
And fittingly, that corner's called a left hook, and through the left-hander, he literally got a left hook punch from Ferrandino there. He just got spun out into the grass. Mercifully, though, out of harm's way, though he is out for the count for this one.
Yeah, it's a knockout blow for Evandro Dantas. He got hit with the left hook and has gone spinning down the field. Here he is, Ethan Reutemann, diving down the inside in that black and gold. Picks up a bit of the curb, but still gets the move done nonetheless, and that's going to allow Gerard Sardeni to overtake his teammate Ferrandino in towards turn number 12, the second part of the famous Oak 3. Here is Mateus Machado, who's under pressure from Bruno De Carmo in the number 16. De Carmo, of course, looking to take the race lead. He's up 8 spots from that start. He's in the race lead here on lap number 2. What a thundering start by the Brazilian. He's looking to take the full pot here in heat number 1.
And indeed, the fact that a fellow Brazilian, Rafael Machado, didn't put much of an fight on it shows that there is some equal respect among the countrymen. And unfortunately, our usual viewer from Brazil, Poco Prata, said that he's not going to be able to watch the whole race. Well, he's missing out on a Brazil 1, 2, 3 here as we see what happened to Benitez. And again, the inside line where he was in a tight space there, could have been through, but unfortunately he was literally pinched into a spin into the infield.
Yeah, very disappointing there for Benitez, as he unfortunately got spun into the grass. In terms of our American representees, didn't start great either. They're 16th, 17th and 18th with Kevin Garcia at the front of them, and they're not able to take much of a hold on this race. 2 in the pit lane as of current, but look up the front a little bit. Still battles going on left, right and centre. You can see Agnelon and Ruben Lorente side by side. Oh, that's very close indeed. Heading through the NASCAR bend and in towards the left hook. We're on board here at Lorente. Looking back on Agnelon. Lavera is slightly quicker than the pair of them in the first sector, but that could be due to the battling. Lorente looking to take into the slipstream of Lavera in front. Get a nice run down towards the Oak Tree. Here is Ethan Reutemann, right on the tail, or sorry, he's under pressure, I should say, from Gerard Sardeni Jr. So Gerard recovering nicely after being overtaken by Reutemann and Chico. So Sardeni not being deterred, and Ethan Reutemann has a job in his hands.
Yep, and Reutemann now will try to put a bit of defending here. He'll probably try to take a few leaflets out of Carlos Reutemann's way of defending and just try to hang on for dear life, but it looks as though the back straight may not be so foreboding for him because he's got Sardini real close, but he's not that far away from Chico either, so he can at least take the slipstream as well to just defend. But you might say that Sardini is the faster of the 3 guys here in this particular small group.
Yes, seems so, as they'll go breaking down the hill for the right-hander and then in towards the left-hander. You can see it's a tricky section of circuit, this one, but one enjoyed by a lot of racing drivers. It's very fun when you nail it, but isn't every racetrack kind of fun when you nail it? And certainly these guys are looking to do so here. 3 laps into the 7 here for heat number 1. We've got heat 2 coming up in this one after, folks, and of course the very, very, very well taken AMX20. Can Martin Chico take a very well taken move on Pereira in front of him? Number 18. Apologies. This is actually Ethan Reutemann attacking Martin Chico. Pereira is about 0.8 of a second up the road from Martin Chico. It is Chico in the blue and white, Reutemann in the black and gold, and then Gerard Sardeni in the red and white, just trailing the pair.
And Reutemann had the fastest lap of the race there, so the slipstream really helped out, especially that back straight. It's just pulling back. So for a second, we thought that Reutemann might just be under attack from Sardini, but it's as though he's got the bit between his teeth here to try and overtake Chico. You can see this is Chico's camera now. That's quite dark actually. We can only just see him in the screen. So he literally is in the zone right now, just trying to mind his own business in the sim racing part. And looks as though he's responded quite well here. He's managed to gap himself ever so slightly in front of Reutemann.
It's a little bit wide from Chico there. They go side by side. Here comes Ayrton Reutemann and here comes Pereira actually that they're attacking. So Pereira very slow through the S's section and in towards the South Bend. He's now coming under pressure from Martin Chico as they head uphill. It is very much like a roller coaster, this circuit, and you can see them taking it like that, and round goes Martin Chico. After all that impressive defending on Ayrton Reutemann, he's unfortunately sent spinning.
Yep, and it might have been Sardini or Benitez right behind it there, actually just causing it. No, sorry, Reutemann causing that one. So unfortunately for Chico, he loses quite a few positions, but at least still in the top 10, so he can at least start further up for the next one. And side by side, they come to the roller coaster. Who's going to blink first? It looks as though Sardini really late on the brakes there. Reutemann just had to give way.
Yes, Ayrton Reutemann attacking back here, and look at this from Ayrton Reutemann, a brilliant camera's perspective. Looking back from Thiago Pereira, and Gerard Sardini is just going to get in front, but Ayrton Reutemann could definitely go for the move in towards turn number 1 here, heading down to start the 5th lap of proceedings at Virginia International Raceway. Reutemann just looking to go from the outside here. This is intense battling in the battle for the final podium placing. It's Reutemann on the outside, Sardini on the inside. Sardini breaks later than Ayrton Reutemann, and the Toyota badge getting a full showing in the rear camera of Thiago Pereira, and Gerard Sardini Jr. has turned defence into attack, and he's looking for the move in towards the NASCAR bend. It will not come, but this is cracking racing here in Virginia International Raceway.
Yeah, props to the production team behind the scenes. That was a really good camera angle. We had a full perspective of what happens. Though coming through the left hook here, it looks as though it's a 1-2 punch for Sardini and takes away P3 from Pereira. If Pereira can fight back, that will actually make it interesting because Reutemann now is looking very punchy.
Yeah, Reutemann's got a good run off the snake and down towards the left-handers, and you can see he's all over the rear mirrors of Thiago Pereira. Ayrton Reutemann just trying to impose himself upon the Brazilian racing driver in front of him. Not long to go here in heat number 1. Do have heat number 2 coming after this one. That's a mistake from Thiago Pereira, and Ayrton Reutemann clips a bit of grass on his endeavour to try and make the move stick. That's how much he wants to get past Pereira, but Pereira still does not budge. Pereira will have the help or the assistance of slipstream from Gerard Sardini Jr., but Ayrton Reutemann is still going to try and make it stick on the brakes. You're upshifting in this car at about 7,300 RPM. They'll all have figured that out by now, and you can see dead even, almost on the straight. Reutemann just being assisted by that slipstream. He's going to have to get very late on the brakes here if he wants to make the move stick, but he has half a car length ahead, going for the outside line, hoping Pereira overcommits for the corner. He doesn't. Outside becomes in. Reutemann, though, stays behind.
We have to make a note that Pereira's car, actually, someone did say, looks a bit like a danger stripe, you know, where you put the do not cross police line. Well, in this case, he's holding on to P4 now. He says, do not take P4 from me. And it really blends well with the circuit. So again, it's a metaphorical blocker right now for Reutemann to get by, but he's got a good run coming out of the final corner to the start-finish straight. Can he make it run the outside? That would be a one brave move. And he does so, but for how long? Because Pereira's hanging it back on the inside, but the radius, the outside radius that I said earlier, allows Reutemann to get on the power sooner, hangs it around and takes the position away because it becomes the inside afterwards.
Well executed move there by Ayrton Reutemann, and you can tell he's been in situations like this one before. Just teed it up nicely around the outside, knew he had the speed to make the move stick. Now Ayrton Reutemann is going to try and press on and take the final podium placing here in this one off Gerard Sardini Jr. And there's a mistake for Gerard, so that's going to be fairly easy for Ayrton, and he says it just as we said it. Gerard's going to lose the spot here to Pereira. Pereira goes for the outside. This is in towards left-hander 7, then in towards turn number 8, turn number 9 and turn number 10 of the South Bend as well. It is Pereira ahead of Sardini, so Sardini falls down to 5th, and all the hard work he put in has just become undone.
Yeah, but he still has at least a lap and a half to go after this, which is coming around the oak tree, named after, of course, the fact that there used to be a giant oak tree in this corner until it fell because of a storm. So unfortunately, not even a stump of it survived, but at least the legacy of the name still stands there. As we are now coming up to the back straight, let's see what Sardini has in response here to get back onto the podium that he held for quite a while until that mistake at the start of this lap. He's on the inside now, He's trying to use a bit of slipstream as well from Reutemann, incidentally, because we're on board with him coming up to the roller coaster. He's on the inside, but does he have the move done here? It's going to be pretty tight, and he does somehow. Or does he? They're going to go at it, but slight touch, and Pereira has to give that up.
Brilliant camera work there, and look at the flashing lights from Sardeni. He immediately wants to put Reutemann under the pressure. He wants this podium. What can he do to get it? He's got to pass one of AMX's best, one of Argentina's best here on iRacing if he wants to make the move stick, and he's got one more lap to do so. Bruno De Carmo brings out the white flag. Mateus Machado in second as well is going to, well, I say this while trying not to commentators curse him, bring it home in second position. Reutemann under big pressure from Sardeni. We said Sardeni probably had a tad bit better pace than Ayrton Reutemann. He needs to now make a move stick. It's one thing to catch a driver in front, it's another thing to pass. Defensive lines well on show here on the 7th of 7 laps. The first of 2 heats, the Toyota GR86 and Virginia International Raceway. Sardeni cannot afford a mistake here. He's got to get a good run down to the oak tree.
And that's pretty much the other 2 overtaking spots they can have. The oak tree and then coming through the roller coaster. That's 2 overtaking spots. And it looks as though this lap, however, he has not gotten a good exit once again. Because look, he may have cut the corner one time too many. And he has to back it off again.
Utterly disappointing for Gerard Sardeni Jr., who loses the position to Tiago Pereira once again, and Pereira will look to bring home 4th place. Reutemann will all but confirm 3rd with a good exit out of this corner. There's a couple of movements down the field. Mark Chico's up to 13th place, getting past Reyes for that spot. But out of the final couple of corners here, we've got one more long run down the longest straight on Madison Avenue, down towards turn number 14. You can see Sardeni now has to do exactly what he did on the last lap if he wants to take 4th position. He's getting close here. This could well be done by the Spaniard on the Brazilian, down towards the left-hander, which does become a right-hander, so that makes the outside line possible. Here we go then. Sardeni Jr. pulls alongside. He's committing to this one, shows his intention. Tiago Pereira defends the line. They break at a similar point, but Sardeni Jr. is able to carry more speed round the corner, and Gerard Sardeni will take 4th despite the multiple mistakes out of turn number 6. He will come home in 4th position, but the winner here today at Virginia International Raceway will be the fabulous Bruno De Carmo in heat number 1, who takes home Mateus Machado, the 2 Brazilians. Oh, look at the delight on Bruno De Carmo. When you gain 8 positions in 7 laps, that's what it means.
Well, numero as he would say it, and Bruno De Carmo do Brasil with a brilliant win up at front. 2nd place Machado, 3rd Reutemann complete a podium, but look who finished in P6. Ralph Benitez, who at one point was in the infield grass right at the back, manages to actually claw it all the way up back to the top 10. What a brilliant drive into P6. But here we go, on pole position in P15 will be Kevin Garcia. Our very own Kevin will be on pole for the next race here. Kevin.
Yes, we have a commentator on pole. This is what we love to see. No bias at all here in the commentary box for Kevin Garcia, who comes home in 15th, but that'll mean pole for heat number 2. It'll be his fellow Americans who come home 16th and 17th. Oh, that's brilliant livery. I like that livery, the Oreos. That is the livery of Ricapero, who's coming home in 17th. Granadillo, apologies, will come home just in front of that. Unfortunately, these guys won't make the reverse grid. It's not often drivers don't make the reverse grid here on AMX Zero this evening, but fabulous attendance tonight will unfortunately be a disadvantage for the drivers below 15th.
Indeed, and the fact that they're outside of there is just, you could have missing the cut in Indy, isn't it? You just got out of the bubble. Now it's all to do again for that 2nd heat. But for Kevin Garcia, it will be the start that he would really want, to be right on pole position coming to turn number 1 here, Evan.
He will, but that is in the future. For now, heat number 1 results. It is Bruno De Carmo, your Ben Q session winner, Mateus Machado in 2nd, and Ayrton Reutemann in 3rd. Ayrton Reutemann will take the extra $1 for fastest lap. Gerard Sardeni Jr. in 4th with Tiago Pereira in 5th. Ralph Benitez in 6th. Gaston Calhavi in 7th. Ruben Lorente Jr. in 8th ahead of Spetronev. Then it is Dantas Agnolon. Hold on a second, we'll get this one right. Ferrandino, then it is Martin Chico, then it is Carlos Reyes, Kevin Garcia, Pablo Granadillo, Pablo Ricapero, and then Ricardo Lavera in 18th position, who unfortunately we didn't get to see much of in that heat. Kevin Garcia then on pole for heat number 2. Amir, what does he have to do to get a positive result here?
Just need a good start, just get a good launch off the line and try not to relent under the intense pressure from the guys behind.
Well then, we go racing here at Virginia International Raceway. It's a brilliant launch by the man in 3rd place. That's Martin Chico, who's already looking to get up and alongside the pole sitter, Kevin Garcia, in towards turn number 1 of the horseshoe. Garcia losing out here, didn't get the best of launches, and that'll allow Spetranev to get up to 2nd place. Martin Chico leads us through the first couple of corners, and you can see there's a spinner there. That is Mateus Machado, who is falling down the order, as well as Carlos Reyes, who started on the front row. So utterly disappointing there for Carlos. Chico leads in towards turn number 3. It's a little bit of a melee here in the backpack, and there's bumping, there's banging. The number 17 of Ruben Lorente involved in that one. We saw him get a little bit pushed wide there, but he's managed to keep it on the asphalt. Last heat's race winner Bruno De Carmo in 9th position, already up 6 spots, and there is Lovera, there is Carlos Reyes, and there is Pablo Rucapero, who have all had poor starts.
It looks like Reyes and Lovera running the same livery, so they might just be teammates. Meanwhile, Kevin then is up to P. Well, actually, when I say up, he's actually dropped to P7. Though he's up in that top 10 here. Let's see if he can maintain this, because he's still got plenty of drivers right behind, waiting to just take away that position. Come on, Kevin, we're all with you right now. Just do your best to keep it out of trouble.
Kevin Garcia under pressure from Bruno De Carmo. Bruno De Carmo lunges, as does Ferrandino, and Kevin Garcia on the outside here, looking to just hang on. He does hang on for the time being. Ruben Lorente trying to get involved in here, as is Gerard Sardeni. You can see it's going to be a slipstream fest down towards turn number 14 and 14A. Martin Chico has a strong lead up the front. He's looking like he'll be able to stay ahead of Felipe Spetranev in towards turn number 14 and 14A. Agnolon in 4th under a bit of pressure from Gaston Kilhavy. Kilhavy not able to make the move, stick to get up in towards his beloved 4th spot. Kevin Garcia has survived on that straight. He'll stay 8th ahead of Ruben Lorente. Keep an eye on Bruno De Carmo, 8 spots gained on the opening lap.
Wow, that is a mark of a driver who's got this track and car combo up to a T. He really loves it right now, and no doubt if he actually manages to clear any of the drivers right in front here, in fact to reel in the guys from P6 the first onwards, he will actually have a chance of getting a double here. Meanwhile, coming out to turn number 1, it's going to be 3 wide. Who's going to blink first? Kulhavi is in the middle of that sandwich, and imagine if he had the Oreo livery, he would be right in the middle of that. But oh, he's actually caught that one. He spins around Brad Benitez.
Yeah, there was bumping and banging on the apex of the horseshoe, but Benitez has been kicked out of that 3 wide, and he is the one that goes spinning, similar to the first race. And there was, unfortunately, an incident for a couple of cars out. And Reutemann, not one of them though, he jumps up to 9th. Kevin Garcia has fallen to 10th now, below Pereira, so the Pereira-Reutemann fight is going to continue, as is this Agnolon fight there for 6th place, as is the fight for the race lead. Martin Chico under big pressure by the Tony Kanaan esports driver of Felipe Spetranev, down towards the lefts and the rights and in towards the south bend and down towards the oak tree, which has been a big overtaking zone in this race. We saw Garcia get overtaken a couple of times on the opening lap of proceedings. Will Martin Chico be under pressure now? No, I don't think so, because he's got a good run out of that corner. Runs a little bit wide here in the apex though, so that could allow Spetranev to make a move.
And a good run on the exit onto the back straight also helps out. Though the slipstream window, as we can call it, within that 7/10 of a second is enough for Spetranev to just keep touch on the rear bumper of the Argentine. As meanwhile, further behind, another Argentine is being overtaken. That's Gaston Kohabi being overtaken by Bruno De Carmo. Easy does it, isn't it? He's going to get that position well before the braking zone. As we can see, a replay start of the race start incident. 3 cars in the same liveries all out, so imagine those are teammates. That is a bad day for that team.
It is. Martin Chico will survive to lead lap number 2 and on towards lap number 3, but how further can he go in the lead of this race before Spetranev, Dan Tasset, maybe even Bruno De Carmo are able to launch a real attack on the man sporting the number 18. Here he goes then, down towards turn number 1. Spetranev a little bit far back, but he is gaining in the slipstream. It would have to be a brave move to go for it here, but is he brave enough? No, stays behind for the time being. Has a There's a sneak down the inside to try and see is there something available, but no avenue of attack was able to open. Tiago Pereira jumping up to 90, he gets past Agnelon.
Yep, that's a different battle altogether because we have some battle packs forming. This is first, second, and third in their own little fight at the front. Two teammates, of course, despite running in different despite representing different nationalities, it looks as though they are part of the same organization, the SART team. So that's a bit awkward for Spectre now because the fellow countryman behind is not French per se, but he will be hoping that at least he could be working together with him so that they could just try to get up to the front. As meanwhile, Romboy with Spectre now, he's within a tenth of a second to Chico, so Chico had a buffer at one point. It looks as though the first couple of corners have not been kind to him. This might see a defensive move being done here to prevent Fedorov coming up to the front.
Martin Chico very good out of turn number 10, that's what I'm seeing, and that always gives him a good run through 11, which means he's able to get away through turn number 12. Still well an obtainable gap by Spetrunev, but Martin Chico doing himself some good favours here if he wants to try and stay in the lead of this race. That run through turn number 10 is crucial. Ooh. We see a bit of lap traffic there. That is going to be Pablo Ricapero, who unfortunately will be lapped at a very early stage, but was involved in multiple incidents. Look how smiley Spetrunev is. You would not think he's a man who is in an intense battle for the race lead here in AMX Zero.
Yeah, he's actually taking the time off to just stress relief and probably was laughing at the fact that there's already back markers, so probably that's why he was smiling. Though look at that, serious face back on because he is back to within 0.2 of a second. You can see a bit of a pattern here. First sector and last sector, you can see Chico is actually faster, but slower, but Spetrunev is slow in that second sector. It kind of evens itself out here.
Both not fond of lights, is what we're seeing on the cameras of their sim rooms, but nonetheless, the lights are out here for this fight. It is all hammers being thrown, but Felipe Spetrunev not able to get past Martin Chico for first place just yet. Biding his time nicely though, but this is not a long race, only 7 laps at Virginia International Raceway. It's about a 2-minute lap time. The current lap times being set by Martin Chico are 2:09s. He did his best lap on the last lap, as did Felipe Spetrunev, and crucially Spetrunev was 1/10 of a second quicker, so battle is going to commence eventually. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, but again, where would Spetrunev try to line up the move? Because he can see again that first sector he is much stronger compared to Chico, but Chico's exit coming onto the back straight from the oak tree has been really good the past couple of laps. That will just annoy Spetrunev because he just can't get a leg in to get that maneuver done. So he now come up to that section, and once again he's losing time, but this time even bigger compared to the previous lap.
Yeah, Vandro Dantas might even maybe look to have a go on Spetrunev now. I think it is a case of both Chico getting a very good run out of turn number 10 and Spetrunev getting a very poor one, but Vandro Dantas might even be able to make a move, stick just a little bit far behind, potentially not able to get alongside, and Felipe Spetrunev might be able to survive for now. But if he wants to overtake Martin Chico, his best overtaking opportunities are turn number 11 and turn number 14. If he keeps getting a bad run out of the south bend of turn number 10, he's not doing himself any favours there. Won't be able to get the move done. Houghton Reutemann up 7 spots. He's now just taken 6th place off Gerard Sardeni. So a familiar battle there for 7th, not for the podium placings like now. Your biggest gainer so far in this race though is none other than Bruno De Carmo, who's up 11 spots to 4th position.
And look at that, he's not that far away, about 1.5 seconds behind Dantas. So if these 3 up in front start to engage in a much harder battle, we would see De Carmo with a more realistic chance of getting up to the trio of them, and maybe wants to sniff at a double. But that's still hypothetical because right now, up in front, they're still controlling the pace quite well here. No major drama just yet. Spetrunev is still frustrated by the fact that he can't get by in the first couple of seconds. Because look, this is definitely not a place where he can try to overtake us. Oh, speaking of track limits there, that's quite a few acres taken and then some from Dantas. Likewise, Spetrunev did the same thing as well. But again, that second sector here coming out to the oak tree is where Chico's been the strongest, and that's been his defensive barrier preventing Spetrunev from overtaking.
Yeah, Dantas has fallen off a little bit here as we see a car pull off to the driver's right hand side. Look how close Petronev is, but this is the corner up here where he has struggled time and time again. Is he able to just get it right and keep with Martin Chico? He's got one more run through the S's section. He's got it nailed. And now Felipe Petronev is able to get close to Martin Chico. He's within 0.4 of a second, just over that 0.4 of a second on the exit of the corner, but an overtaking opportunity may arise itself down Madison Avenue in the back straight towards the roller coaster. These guys got to get a hurry on because Bruno De Carmo is fast approaching. He's now within the second of Evandro Dantas in that battle for the podium. Petronev, it seems like going to run out of straight here, or is he? He's gaining and he's got a great run as they drop downhill. No, Martin Chico going to survive for now. So what does Petronev have to do to get a good opportunity?
And likewise for Chico, what does he have to do to lose him? Because you can see just now, looked like he was the thinking man. He was pondering where on earth can he actually just pull away from the guy behind, because he can do it on that particular corner and gain some time. But then through the wiggly bits, he loses it all. And look at that, he's got the black car right up his rear view again.
Yes, Petronev a lot closer this time, and this is a great opportunity in towards turn number 1. On the penultimate lap of the race, he doesn't go for it. And there's a little bit of a nudge into the braking zone, but nothing major. Maybe even a bit of a bump draft from Felipe Petronev onto Martin Chico. You're looking at the battle for 6th there on the picture-in-picture. That's between Ayrton Reutemann and Gerard Denny Jr. Those two liveries we've got very, very familiar with tonight. And then it's the hazard sign livery of Tiago Pereira getting the job done on Ruben Lorente Jr. But this battle for the race lead, I tell you what, there seems to be something else in this one. Felipe Petronev, one good run in towards the Oak 3, and there's an opportunity here from him. But on the other hand, one poor run, and he could be under pressure from Evandro Dantas and the fabulous Bruno De Carmo, because De Carmo is putting his fellow Brazilian Evandro Dantas under a huge amount of pressure heading in towards the S's section, and you can see he's going left, he's looking right, there's no overtaking opportunity approaching. Dantas holding well. Look at De Carmo using every ounce of asphalt on this fabulous VIR circuit.
Ooh, he might be thinking around the outside here, coming out to the oak tree. He'll be a brave man to do so if he has enough road, and Dantas actually gives him way easily that time around, because I think he doesn't want to compromise his race. He's in such a good position right now. Well, Bruno De Carmo then might be thinking of going for a double here, because he's got his teammate up in front for Slipstream, and Martin Chico, who has been looking really strong in a few sections, but shaky in others.
I wonder, could De Carmo still go from 15th to 1st potentially here and win the second heat tonight? It's going to take a magical last lap from him to do it, but I tell you what, he's on form, as someone said in the stream chat, and he's on pace. He's got great pace, and he's managing this car and track combination beautifully. We're heading through the roller coaster and in towards the hog pen section of the circuit for the second final time to start the final trip round this 5.2 kilometer 17 corners circuit. Felipe Petronev feels like he's got to go for the move ASAP. He's within a 10.5 in front. Petronev in the 52 has been looking for this move for 7 laps of this race. He's finally going to go for it. Felipe Petronev, is he going to go for the outside or the inside? He's been looking for the inside predominantly today, but he's going to go for the outside. That invites Bruno De Carmo to go for the move as well. De Carmo, is he able to sneak a wheel down the inside? He is, and it's Petronev's best opportunity. The limelight has been taken away by Bruno De Carmo. Race on between the Argentine and the second Brazilian.
And it's not known whether or not De Carmo or Chico are faster between these two sectors. We already know the pattern between Chico and Petronev, so Chico then is going to be under huge pressure. He doesn't know where De Carmo is going to be weak here. He'll have to bank on the Oak Tree corner that has been so kind to him throughout this entire race to try again whether or not he can actually hold on to this, or will De Carmo get a double here today? This is going to be answered in the final lap here, Evan.
Martin Chico was expecting to fight one Brazilian in a black and gold race car. He didn't expect it to be Bruno De Carmo heading through here. De Carmo's got a great run. De Carmo's the man on form. De Carmo is the one who could make the magic happen here on the last lap at Virginia International Raceway. Martin Chico needs the run of his life out of this corner. He's got a fairly decent one, do you know? And Bruno De Carmo's going to have to get adventurous. He's going to have to get brave into the braking zone of the roller coaster of 14 and 14A into the slipstream. De Carmo needs every ounce of the 2.4 litre engine in the back of this Toyota GR86. It's going to have to be last of the late breakers for Bruno De Carmo. It doesn't look close enough. He goes for it anyways, in towards the roller coaster, and there's contact. Martin Chico goes spinning. Bruno De Carmo will win the race, but controversially.
Oh, that is not the way that you want to win it. He will definitely not he's not pleased with himself right now. I think that was really controversial. He knew he had the inside, but he didn't have the run, and he sent Chico, oh, this is not deserving, isn't it? Chico should have actually had a better result than that, but controversially for now, Bruno De Carmo comes across the line to take the win. Spetronev comes in second to make it a Tony Kanaan 1-2, but your heart goes out to Chico. He did not really deserve that at all.
No, poor Martin Chico will only come home in 9th. Definitely deserved 1st or 2nd in that race. And I think there could be a penalty heading Bruno De Carmo's way, potentially. But what an absolute barnstormer here at Virginia International Raceway. The first race left a lot to the imagination. Heat 2 didn't, and we got a last lap shootout here in this Toyota GR86. A cracking job by all the drivers involved. There's our own Kevin Garcia coming home in 15th place. Ralph Benitez will come home in 16th. There was no comeback here for him. He got a little bit hard done by today in terms of the incident. But Bruno De Carmo will be your BenQ session winner, for now at least. We'll let the stewards sort that out in a few weeks' time.
Indeed, and there's Benitez coming across the line. He had a very good first race. Second heat, not so. But wow, controversial end to the second heat, but it was an exciting race nonetheless. And the cars, once again, Evan, have really delivered.
Yeah, they really have. This is a great little car. I've grown to love it here, and it is a really, really nice car for racing and always provides good entertainment for us in the commentary box. But confirmation of your results, it is Bruno De Carmo in first by 1/10 of a second, ahead of Felipe Spetronev. To be fair to Bruno, I think he knows himself that it may be an undeserved win. If he had taken the move fairly, thoroughly deserved the win, but just the nature that it happened, there's no real big celebrations from him. It is himself, Spetronev, ahead of Evandro Dantas, and it is Gaston Vilhavi in 4th place. That's going to become a running joke. Gerard Teddy Jr. in 5th, Alberto Reutemann in 6th, and there's Ruben Lorente Jr. in 7th, Tiago Pereira in 8th. Martin Chico takes 9th, ahead of Fernando Agnolon in 10th, and then it is Mateus Mercado in 11th. Salvatore Ferrado Oliveira, Kevin Garcia, and then Ralph Benitez in 16th. Unfortunately, Carlos Reyes and Pablo Ricapero were not able to get a finish in that one. Bruno De Carmo, of course, as well, taking your fastest lap here, so he'll pick up an extra $1. So a job well done by Bruno. Still, he's picked up a big prize in there.
Indeed, but for Felipe Spetronev, I can imagine he came into this last lap almost in 2nd place, dropped the 3rd at one point, and still somehow ended up 2nd place after all of that. It will be frustrating, but let's see how the stewarding will go after this. But once again, penalties notwithstanding, Bruno De Carmo, a double today.
Yeah, great job by Bruno De Carmo indeed to take the double. Really great racing in the Toyotas overall, and it's lit the fire, and the excitement is building for AMX20 coming up in a few moments' time. Before we do go there, of course, Amir, round us out then. Virginia International Raceway, Toyotas, what did you make of it overall?
I think it pretty much delivered or even exceeded the expectations that we had for, what was it, on paper, a very exciting car and track combo. We did not expect that to go all the way to the end in both races, and I gotta say, it really does. We called this the appetizer at the start, well, I did, but it turned out to be quite a meal in its own. Now we're really just getting ready to go for the main course after this, which is AMX20. I can't really wait for that.
Yes, we are hungry for more. No, we were in Hungary last AMX20. We're heading to Silverstone in the GTE, so make sure you go and watch the previous GTE action on some of our social media channels below while we take a quick break. Make sure to check out all our partners as well here at AMX, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go, refill your drinks, grab some popcorn. We've got a classic coming up later on, and we can't wait to see you there.
Makes you wonder if you lost control. Leaves you breathless. Changes what you think is possible. Got me too. Brought me to you. It's got you too. Your magic's true. Your magic's true.
Interlagos racing for heat number 1 here in Austria. Over AMX20 in towards the Niki Lauda curve, bumping and banging and into the wall. That is a horrible crash. That's a huge lunge from Gaston Calabi, and he's made contact with, I believe, wow, it's a chaotic moment here. And slipstream in front for either car, and you can just see Petazova pushing Florian Lamigra right over.
Here we go then, Valeri, he looks left, he looks right, he's going to choose the right hand side, which is the inside going 8 to 10-3.
Here it is. This is the crucial moment in this race. And it's looking like it's only going one way. David Dott is going to take the race lead. Heading into the second half of the season, the Hungarian of David Dott has driven a masterclass here with the early pit stop. Not the ideal strategy, but an ideal race winner and an excellent performance.
To save our home, we must travel through the gateway to find new energy.
Miranda Petazova into the wall.
It's actually Valero. Valero's actually gone up into the barriers, coming up to the cutting.
David Todd making his way back up has already climbed 7 positions.
Oh, I spoke too soon there. Sandy goes up.
So right now, this is going to be where it's going to get shaken up. David Todd passes them while they are in the pit through the mountain straight now, going 3 wide.
Oh my word, that is probably one of the best shows of the entire season.
So we have 3-way battle going to the most dangerous turn of the mountain. Up the mountain, we have contact right there. These guys going absolutely crazy. It's going to come down to the final corner, Murray's corner. Who is going to have to lead? We may have a drag race to the finish line on our hands, folks. You see David Todd right now going into the pit lane.
Carousel immediately, he gets punted off. That was Saavedra. He's gone off. He's been tapped, and he's into the barriers. Oh, the rejoin! Oh no!
Dean. Oh, Pedro, Dean.
Oh, Chris Lawlem does have the inside track for the Swiss left. If he's able to make that pass happen, he might be able to cut away Victorino. He does make that pass, and he makes it clean as they come into the right hand. And this is it. Chris Lawlem seizes the opportunity and makes it. And just as the end, the rain comes to put a pin onto the end of the race, and Chris Lawlem takes it.
150,000 spectators attended this very location in 1950, the location of RAF Silverstone, and that has birthed modern day Formula 1. It's also the circuit that hosts race 40 here of AMX Season 5, the AMX20 class. We head here with GTP cars to this fabulous Silverstone circuit. My name's Evan Dalton. It's a pleasure to be back with you tonight, and still alongside me it is Amir. Amir, our appetite has been whetted earlier with some fabulous AMX Zero action. This, I think, is going to be just that little bit better.
I think it just is a cherry on top of the entire cake, isn't it? It's just the fastest possible GT cars that we had in the history of motorsports around a historic circuit. Yeah, GTE cars, we sorely missed them, but in real life they had to die for a reason, because it just got way too expensive and it had to be replaced by the more venerable GT3 cars. But the cars that they left behind in this particular era that we're going to be seeing after this, some of them are some of the finest machinery ever assembled for a GT grade, I can tell you that, Evan.
Yes, the GTE cars no longer in circulation in modern day motorsport, but the best thing here about AMX is that we have a fabulous variety of car and track combos. You'll hear me say that in about 2 minutes again, but it is a really nice car, really nice track. We'll run you through more of that with Amir in a couple of moments. But before we do that, folks, we've got to run you through some housekeeping. This is AMX Season 5, of course. Started on May 25th and will end on August 18th. $15,000 prize pool and some fabulous next level racing gear, and as I said, some fabulous varieties of car and track combinations. The race format for AMX20, we start with a 20-minute qualifier, we then reverse the top 15, and then we go to heat number 1 for 30 minutes, then we reverse that top 15 again, and we go for heat number 2. The same prize amounts for every standing, and it's the same for every session. Driver cams required, of course. You can join via the link on the AMX Discord and website. If you do strike it lucky and get a good result, balances over $100 are paid out each month. We race, of course, Saturdays and Sundays. You'll get the times in a moment, but you can sign up any time to race at amxrace.com. The schedule then: on Saturdays and Sundays we race at both 5:50 p.m. GMT and 7 o'clock p.m. GMT. And of course, 1 week we will do 2 AMX races on both Saturday and Sundays. Next week it'll be AMX 5 on Saturdays, and then it will be AMX Zero on Sunday, and of course the very infamous AMX 20 race that comes after the exciting earlier AMX Zero. The AMX20 race prize pool then, a whopping prize pool compared to AMX Zero. It is $60 if you manage to take pole, the Heat 1 win or the Heat 2 win. It then goes 40 for second, 36 for third, 32 for fourth, 28 for fifth, 24th for sixth, 20 for seventh, 18 for eighth, 16 for ninth, 14 for 10th, 12 for 11th, 10 for 12th, 8 for 13th, 6 for 14th, 4th for 15th, and then $8 if you get yourself the fastest lap in either of our 2 races. You do have to have a minimum road eye rating of 4,000 to race in one of these, but if you do have it, you can win you can win some of $1,000 each race. Your AMX20 leaderboard then. We are well within the second half of the season and coming towards a conclusion, and there is one man at the top. Hungarian racer David Tott has excelled in this championship. 462 points he leads by. He has 3 session wins, 2 fastest laps, and he won 1 evening. Gael Valero then in second, had a bit of a struggle last time out in the Hungaroring and was even hit before the race got started. Peter Zuba then in third with Thomas Simon in fourth, Bruno De Carmo in fifth with Pedro Dean in sixth, then it is Marcos Savandra in seventh and Juan Blenat in eighth. Tobias Soriano, he has jumped up 6 spots since you last saw him, he's in ninth, and Jackson Resenge in 10th position. Now, of course, it's time then to hand it over to Amir, who's going to talk you through more of this Silverstone circuit and the fabulous GTE machinery.
Yep, certainly, Evan, and can't wait for this one to go because, again, a modern day marvel in terms of circuit design, born out of the fact that it used to be just an airstrip where it was used for World War II. But The thing is, don't mind the circuit line because we're not running the short national layout. We're running the full Grand Prix layout of 5.8 kilometers. Opened first in 1948. As you can see, the runways just inside the infield circuit. That's where the circuit used to be before the parameter roads that used to run around where the service vehicles serve the airplanes were formed as part of the original Silverstone Circuit. Now, it had some iterations over the years, but we've settled with this since 2011, the arena layout. As you can see, the pit lane we fly by, that's the modern day Grand Prix layout for the pit lane. But the car class we're racing on here today is, well, I can say absolute beauties. There's the Ford GT, the Corvette C8R, and the BMW M8 GTE, also known as the Big Mate, and the 488 GTE. A sadly missed class now, but during its prime, it produced some of the best racing, especially at the Le Mans 24 Hours. 530 to 568 horsepower, depending on BOP, of course. All rear-wheel drive. Just a shade under 1.25 tons, and slightly better gearboxes on the steering wheel, so the drivers can think more about how to drive it rather than trying to work their way up through the gears. It is the apex of how GT cars were just pretty much the most sought after class in the endurance racing sphere. No doubt they're actually retired in the real world. At least we can still enjoy them in iRacing, and enjoy them. We are going to enjoy them thoroughly here today, Evan.
Yes, we are. A really fabulous car class. We have multiple cars on display here tonight. We have the Ford. That is, of course, the Ford GT GTE. We have the Corvette on display as well, the Chevrolet Corvette C8 or GTE. And then as well, of course, we have the BMW M8 GTE, which is a fabulous car. No Ferraris on the grid tonight, so apologies any Italians. We do have one Italian driver not running the Ferrari. That is, of course, Giovanni Vecchio, who is not in the Ferrari. Is that a little bit of treason to the Italians to not run a Ferrari as an Italian driver?
Well, obviously I don't come from Italy, I wouldn't want to say that, but yes, it sounds a little bit awkward when you run a rival manufacturer, especially for Vecchio. He's running the Beamer, so I don't know, let's just let that one slide and let the Italians sort themselves out with that one.
Yeah, the Beamer seems to be a popular choice here tonight. There's a lot of BMWs on the grid. It might be the quickest of the bunch, but we'll find that out. We'll see how these cars manage to figure themselves out around this 5.891 kilometer Silverstone circuit. We've got plenty of racing action on it, so we will get to see these cars plenty for the next, well over an hour of racing. And it's currently the home hero who is quickest in qualifying. Kieran Harrison from the United Kingdom, a driver for SimRC. In Season 4 he had 9 evening wins, 11 session wins and 13 fastest laps. He's looking to pick up a few more here tonight in AMX Season 5. A driver that you can always consider to be up there.
Absolutely, and to put things in perspective, he can actually drive anything that has 4 wheels on it. And case in point, last season most of his wins came from when we had the TCR class as the top class for a lot of the pro guys that came in. It was really absolutely exciting, nail-biting races throughout the entire season, but a change of pace for this one. He'll have to actually get used to other cars, especially the rear-wheel drive ones, and he's still doing well here. Look at that, really fast time, 57.9. He's the only guy in the 57s right now, so Harrison is pretty much the guy you want to do to just get to do the business.
There's a comment just coming through there, going across the bottom of the screen, saying this roster is crazy, and I couldn't agree more. What a stacked lineup we have here for AMX20. AMX20 genuinely just gets better every week. There's more interest in it, and they all want to exceed. This is Giovanni Vecchio, who you are looking at, driver for Team Redline, of course. 26 years of age, so he's had a lot of experience in the simulator. He's of course won many of iRacing's top endurances, winning in the GTE Class at Watkins Glen for Team Redline, of course. So he knows his way around GT3, GTE machinery. Amir, I think Gianni will be up there tonight, irregardless of how this qualifying session goes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, he'll definitely have to avenge a fellow Italian who came a cropper in the ACC race here at Silverstone a couple of weeks back. It was Simone Seminara. He came off right exactly after this point at Stowe, where he hit a road bump where there's been just a small bug in the way that the circuit was made. he was veered off into the barriers and out of a potential win. So I think Vecchio would like to put that into his into his mind and say, okay, let me try to win it for him at least. But again, such a stacked field, it will be a tall order.
Dino Felipe, we're currently looking at, he went purple in the third of 5 sectors, and you can see rounding through the Vale chicane and in towards Club Corner to finish his hot lap. It's going to be slightly slower than Kieran Harrison, but still a good lap for Felipe nonetheless. He will go onto the front row of the grid with a 1:58 flat. He'll beat fellow Argentinians of Juan Blanat and Marcus Savander. Thomas Simon goes to 5th position with a lot of Hungarian drivers on the grid in the Hungaroring, just the one British driver here on the British circuit, but the Hungarians are still here as well, so they want to represent themselves nicely. Thomas Simon, Peter Zuma and David Todt, of course. Speak of the devil, David Todt goes to 4th place here in qualifying, just 10th of a second off Dino Felipe in 2nd, so there's a huge gaggle of cars there. All Blanat, Todt and Savander all in the 58 ones.
Yeah, that is quite a tight field at the front, and look at that. If you just blink your eyes for a second, you can actually just literally see the whole field go past you. From first all the way to Agbiar, it's about 1.1 seconds, but from the top 5, 2/10. We're looking at one right now, Marcus Saavedra, and he's, well, actually, the times are fooling us right now because look at his sector times. He was fastest in that second sector, but it looks as though he may have actually gone off somewhere. That's why he's into the 4 minutes, so we'll wait and see when he crosses the line proper and tell us where he is right now. In fact, just 200 behind Harrison. What a lap from Saavedra to put him up to P2.
Yeah, great lap there from Savin. There's someone in the stream chat asking how much would a GTE car cost. You can actually currently buy one if you want. A Porsche 911 RSR prototype GTE from Le Mans that raced in Le Mans. 2.1 million, it'll set you back. But you can purchase one. There is one for sale on Google. Soriano goes to quickest, however, in our session. That is Tobias Soriano, of course, who goes to the top of the order and knocking off Kieran Harrison. So Harrison now has to come back out on track and set another lap. This man you might have saw earlier if you were tuning in for AMX Zero. This is Bruno De Carmo. He took both wins in Virginia International Raceway in the Toyota GR86. Completely different task at his hands here. He's got a win against a very stacked field in GTEs at Silverstone.
Yep, and looks as though he's put that rather controversial end to the second race out of his mind right now, and he's fully focused here on trying to get up to the front. He is on pole position by right when we flip the script, but he goes out to P12 in this qualifying session. It's gonna be around P4 after this once we actually go to that top 15 reverse grid.
Keep an eye on the reigning champ as well, Gael Valero, who's going quickest. This is Giovanni Vecchio, who is currently down to 10th, but will look to improve at this lap time. He comes across the line, 3rd spot for Giovanni Vecchio. Gael Valero, purple in the 1st, and personal best in 2 and 3, not improving in 4, but this is still a good lap for the number 16. From France, of course, a country in the news for the Olympics. Valero won't be in the news for this qualifying lap because he's bailed out of it. Into the pit lane goes Valero.
Indeed, and a couple of other people were asking the same section. I think it's the same guy asking the question: how much will a GT3 or GT4 Porsche cost? Well, look that up quickly. It's about just roughly above $250,000, or if you want to go for the GT3 one, $575,000. So if you got some disposable income, you might want to try and fancy your luck here, or just go for a track day. Any other track day where you in any part of the world can offer a GT3 Cup car as your sort of go-to test day car anyway. But yeah, quite an expensive piece of kit.
But it does make a good argument for why GT3s have come back into circulation as opposed to the GTEs, because for a race team that is a significant reduction.
Oh, absolutely, because it doesn't cost a bomb to run the whole operation out of your own pocket, let's say if you're a team owner. But certainly with more manufacturer support plus the customer programs that come along the way with GT3 racing nowadays anyway, it really does help out not only just the teams but also the manufacturers when they produce the cars.
There's Dino Filippo, who is improving on his times. Not long to go here in qualifying, about 4 minutes and 10 seconds for these guys to complete a hot lap. It's a 1 minute 57 here, so you'd kind of be looking to go in your last laps about now. Here is Dino Filippo, rounding through the final corners. Is he able to improve upon this time? Yes, he is. There's the fist pump of delight for Dino Filippo. 157.8, a great lap indeed. He is delighted with that one. Beats Tobias Soriano, puts it in the wall. Makes the car even more expensive than it already is, but he doesn't care. Quickest of the session so far. Now it's up to the rest of them to try and pip that. Juan Blainat will be the first man to tackle.
Yeah, but you can see the two red BMWs that were together in tandem just now. We saw them earlier trying to give each other slipstream. As across the line comes Juan Blainat. He was actually faster than that third sector. Misses out by just 8,000, would you believe it?
Very disappointing for Juan Blainat. It is an Argentine 1-2-3 here in AMX. If you're wondering what cars they're all in, well, it's all in that Ford GT, so that's the quickest car here of tonight. Can Kieran Harrison put his Ford top of the order? We'll have to wait and see. He's just heading through Woodcut down towards the famous Cops Corner, formerly turn 1 here at Silverstone. Was turn 1 today for the MotoGP racers, but it is turn 9 here on this variation of Silverstone. Nice through there for Harrison. He'll know this circuit like the back of his hand now. He is driving it well. Here's Aguirre down to 18th now, so he needs to get another lap in. He's just been pipped by Martin Chico.
Yeah, slowest of the bunch right now. He's the only guy in the 59s, but with the track evolution getting better and better with more guys running it, he might just be able to at least improve his lifetime to go in front of Martin Chico, who will love to put that disappointment of what happened in Heat 2 at VIR right behind him to at least be competitive in this one against a field of really fast guys. As you can see, that might be Valero then on his outlap, getting out of the way, and rightfully so. He does get out of the way just in time for Aguirre to come through the final couple of corners here to set a proper lap time now, because it says outlap. I'm not sure if he's on the lap right now here, Evan.
Yeah, not too sure. He's gone across the start-finish line. There's no sign of an improvement for him, so maybe just getting started. A lot in the pits here as we've 2 minutes to go, so got to start your laps, or you pretty much want to be on them to keep it comfortable. Here's your championship leader, David Tot, sporting that number 10 all-black livery on his BMW M8 GTE. The driver for Drago Racing, of course, from Hungary, a man who has excelled in this season here in AMX. His first season, of course, and he's certainly making a big name for himself in these AMX 10 races specifically. Heading in towards Stowe then of turn number 15, down towards the Vale chicane and Club Corner. 3 more corners to go. Got to nail them. You want to beat that fabulous lap by Dino Filippo. There's a lot on the line there. You can see the prizes popping up on your right hand side. Personal best in the 4th sector from David Tot. Rounding the final couple of corners now. We'll get confirmation of this lap time as he crosses the line. Tot, no positional improvement. He'll stay 7. Senjay goes to 8. Minutes ago in qualifying, Harrison and Vecchio still to come across. Gael Valero, purple in the 1st sector. Big laps being put in.
Oh, absolutely. As he now comes through Cops Corner then, the side of that infamous collision between Verstappen and Hamilton a couple of years back, or now 3 years back to be exact. He negotiated that cleanly, but through sector 3 he can only improve his personal best faster than that 1st sector, so we're keeping an eye out whether or not Valero can actually power his way up to the front here in qualifying. He has the script with flips, but he would love to get the $60 that comes with pole position here. Full concentration on his face. Another personal improvement here coming out to Stowe. Traffic in front may not be a factor. A bit of a slight twitch in the steering wheel here, but it's looking good here, Evan.
Here is Gael Valero, P1 overall in AMX Season 4. He wants to go P1 overall here in the session for AMX20 at Silverstone. Valero, quick through Club Corner. Is it a miracle lap for Gael? No, it's only 4th. What about home hero Kieran Harrison? Can he steal at the dead? Yes, he can! Kieran Harrison is on pole in front of his home crowd.
Oh, what a lap! He stole it right at that. That was so clutch because we didn't know that way he was on track, because he looked like he was just coming through the final sector, and Filippo, I think the look on his face says it all right now. He knew he just got pipped there, but for $60. But what a heroic final lap then from Harrison. Look at that gap. 23 hundredths of a second right at the death here, Evan.
Would I be right in saying David Tot did the exact same thing at the Hungaroring? Just as we cut from the session, he goes quickest in front of his home crowd. But Dino Filippa will start, well, he'll start 14th because it's reverse grid, but he takes second in qualifying. But it's Kieran Harrison, your BenQ session winner. Juan Blainat in third. Tobias Soriano in fourth. Top four separated by under a tenth of a second here in what is almost a 2-minute lap time. Gael Valero in fifth, and it is Gianni Vecchio in sixth, Marcos Saavedra in seventh, David Toth in eighth, Jackson Mersenje in ninth, and Pedro Dean in 10th. That's one of the most stacked top 10s we've ever had in AMX. Ruben Lorente Jr. in 11th with Hamas Simon in 12th, Bruno De Carmo 13th, Petr Zuba 14th, keep an eye on him as well, starting on that front row, and the Gerard Sardeni Jr. will take pole. Then it is Martin Chico and of Santiago Aguirre, and then we look a little bit further down. No, we don't, because we only have 18 drivers here tonight. But Kieran Harrison, wow, what a way to entertain the home faithful.
And I think the virtual crowd and even the crowd on stream are going to be willing him on here. Yes, he'll start all the way in P15, but he has the bit between his teeth. That was a heroic qualifying lap. We did not see most of it, but when he did pop through the screen, we knew the reaction from Dino Filippa. That lap time was just right under everybody's noses.
Yes, a fantastic lap indeed. Here is your starting grid then for the half-an-hour race. One pit stop needed as well. Remember, it's Sardeni ahead of Petr Zuba in second position, Bruno De Carmo in third, and it is Simon, Lorente, Dean, Senje, Toth, Saavedra, Vecchio, Valero, Soriano, Blainat, Filippa, Harrison, Kulhavi. Your top 16 here tonight. This is going to be an absolute cracker at Silverstone. The first up two heats, we look a little bit further down, then it is Chico and Aguirre in 17th and 18th. But it is the Corvette that will lead us to the green of Gerard Sardeni Jr. He's alongside the BMW of Petr Zuba, and Bruno De Carmo is looking racy there as well. It's AMX20 here in Silverstone as we go racing. What a start that is by the pole sitter Gerard Sardeni Jr. Petr Zuba as well is kept with him in towards turn number 1. Mersenje looking to make a move. Gianni Vecchio making a move and up to 10th place ahead of the champ Gael Valero. David Toth looking to make moves stick as well in towards the first braking zone here of turn number 3 down towards the arena of turn number 4. Lorente ahead of Mersenje. We're all safely through, however.
Yep, no such drama to report through the first couple of corners. But Bruno De Carmo nearly coming a cropper before the start-finish line. He was looking under the inside of Petr Zuba. Luckily, he didn't take both of them out. And right now, are still second and third. But he's thinking one coming through Brooklands here. Oh, he is really punchy through the first couple of corners. He really wants to just get a move on and try to get a third consecutive win. That would be quite something, isn't it, Evan, if he did so?
Yeah, that would be absolutely fantastic. We saw Argentine driver Dino Filippa do that, I think, a few weeks back in AMX Zero and AMX20. That would be something else. Here we go then, in towards Copse Corner for the first time. We're all single file, no drama there. Do keep an eye on Pedro Dean and Gianni Vecchio in 7th and 8th, though. They're looking very racy and looking to move up the order. The Spaniard, the Gerard Sardeni, though, has got a great launch here, one of his best. 1 second ahead of Petr Zuba now, who seems to be struggling a little bit in these GTE machinery. Always keep an eye on Zuba when we go into GTPs. He's exceptionally quick in that one. Kieran Harrison up one spot, your pole sitter into 14th from the reverse grid, as we're 2x2 here in the background. This is Gianni Vecchio, who you can see diving down the inside in the number 7D. The Italian is ahead of Pedro Dean for 7th spot.
Yeah, Dean there didn't put too much fight, as we can see a few drivers, in fact quite a contingent of them, coming to pit lane to get rid of the mandatory pit stop that they will have to do in the race anyway, so they could get clear air throughout that second stint. So the very first stint on that first lap is very short, and now they're going to come into the pit to just get rid of that. And one of them is Harrison, so Harrison's followed everybody through here to just get rid of the mandatory stops and focus on the next part of the race.
Yeah, we always get a couple of first lap pitters, but we've got quite a bunch here tonight. We will keep you updated on who those pitters are, folks, but we're at the back of the grid for now. Petr Zuba now takes the reins of this race, but he is under big pressure from Bruno De Carmo in second position. A part of the Tony Canan esports team is Bruno, so he's got some great coaches. He knows the ins and outs of these GTE machinery. Petr Zuba has been exceptional for the majority of this season. But pace-wise here, Amir, he just seems to be struggling a tad to what maybe we usually expect from him.
Yeah, normally we would be the one seeing him from a rear view camera of somebody that he's chasing, but now he's the one that's being chased. So Bruno De Carmo this time will take up the moniker of Jaws, and that all-black BMW representing the Tony Kanaan Esports organization is looking real hot form right now. He has 2 wins on his belt tonight alone. He'll love to make it a third here, but the more that they fight, the more they might actually just open themselves up to the guys behind who have stopped. And we can see now that clearly the drivers who have stopped. In fact, there's about 7-8 of them who have pitted here, led by Gerard Sardini. So he will be the one to be watching out for once everybody else starts pitting. As we can see, a battle pack forming with Vecchio bringing up the rear of that top 5.
Yeah, very close in the battle for first now. Here we go. De Carmo and Lorente into the pit lane. They cannot find a move on Petter Zuba, so they don't want to be held up any longer. That promotes Gianni Vecchio and Thomas Simon up the order a little bit. Thomas had a very steady race here. He's gained a couple of spots from the start of his position. Well, it is literally a couple of spots. He's gained 2. To second place here from the reverse grid. Last lap of the race does go to Tobias Soriano, but he is in the pit lane now, so I imagine that will probably be beaten at some point here this evening. Top 3 very close, heading through turn number 3. It is 2 Hungarians and an Italian. Very similar flags indeed, but 3 very similarly close racers.
And look at first and second. Those are 2 Hungarians actually working together. We saw it just now in qualifying. 2 red BMWs line astern as they were trying to give each other slipstream. But not only that, they were actually trying to just stay in formation so that they could probably be close together on the grid. They have worked out that bit so far because they started 2nd and 4th. But for Zuba and Simon, if they were to just keep consolidated this position, they just need to pick the pace up. And Zuba at this point in time has not lost the field. Simon and Vecchio are really close arrears right now.
Yeah, we're on board with Gael Valero, driver for Apex Racing Team. In Season 4, he had 3 evening wins, but more importantly, he won the AMX 10 Championship, the AMX 10 GT Championship, and the overall championship, of course. Thomas Simon, we cannot look into his eyes because there is a VR headset on his face. One of few VR headset runners here in AMX, but it's working nicely for him because honestly his pace has improved since he started using the VR headset, so it is clearly a good decision from him. Here's Gael Valero overtaking Pedro Dean. Gael back in his beloved Ford, always races the Ford machinery, and of course tonight he has 3.5 litre EcoBoost V6 beneath him to power him. Gianni Vecchio gonna follow in those who pitted on the last lap. He pits now on his own on lap 4.
Oh, and that's a bit of a surprising one as well for Vecchio because he was at the back of this entire train. And also one other thing, you can see why the fastest lap went to Soriano previously, because the pit lane, the start-finish line, actually is closer to the pit lane road as it is to the actual track. So we can get a bit of a false reading at one point. So we'll keep an eye out for that. If any of those guys who pitted earlier, who just swooped right into the pit lane, might have got the fastest lap almost by default. Anyhow, activity on pit lane still quite busy, with a couple of drivers still waiting to come out of there. Sardini is the leading charger of all of them. He's actually still in front of Resende, as we can see. Felipe, the second fastest guy in qualifying, jumps on Pedro Dean and goes out to P4.
Yeah, good move there by Dino Felipe. Pole sitter Kieran Harrison's not had a good start to the race. He's down in 17th and did pit early on, but anyone from 8th below has already pit, so he's not been able to cut through the field here too well. Maybe 1 lap pace his advantage. Felipe. Now next target is Gael Valero. Pedro Dean not able to get close to him either. He's 0.4 of a second close, but unfortunately he's not close enough for a move in towards Copse Corner. You've got to be alongside or a little bit back. But I don't want to start any arguments, but you've got to be very close indeed. And the 33 just keeping Dean at arm's length. Lap 4 of 14, going on towards lap number 5. Been a good one so far in this. Very, very intriguing.
Intriguing in terms of strategy, of course, because we don't know when it's going to converge by the time that everything shakes itself out. One other thing I can make an argument for in terms of Pedro Dean, that snazzy black colored Ford GT with the stripes. It does remind you of a certain Ford that did win at Le Mans in 1966, of course. That is a really eye-catching thing. So the Ford stripe really is the trademark of the whole operation anyway when they go into racing. Anyway, besides the point, yeah, at this point in time, Zuba and Simon, if they were to actually come out in front in terms of strategy, they need to pick out the pace, and they're doing just that right now. They're gapping themselves to Valero, but I don't think they're doing enough to stay ahead of Sardini, who is still leading that pack of drivers who have stopped.
Yeah, remember, we have a lot of undercutters here. We're also going to potentially have a swap of Hungarians. Zuba pulls over to the left-hand side, and Massimo is in the lead of this race, up 3 spots and now leading here on the 5th lap of proceedings. And Zuba, although has decent pace, I'm not sure it's good enough to avoid the undercut from Gerard Sedeni. Remember, these guys, they don't get a service in the pit stop. They don't really need to. It's not a long enough race for these GTEs to burn out their fuel or burn out their tyres. So it is just the in and out. And I'm not sure Peter Zuba is lapping quick enough to stay in front of Sardeni.
And case in point, again, we look at the last lap times. Sardini actually is doing a 59.2. Simon's actually matching that, and it was his personal best, but not as fast as compared to Sardini, so it's going to be very close. It's just within the hundreds or not thousands of a second here with the lap times. Though the swap in position between Simon and Zuba may be beneficial for Simon in the long run, because he's now clear to run his own race and try to get ahead of Zuba by the time they go into the pit stops, even when it cycles itself out. So that's good for track position, and certainly it will be helpful for the both of them if Jackson Resende and Bruno De Campo start fighting each other hard too.
Yes, and here they go. It's Resende and De Carmo. De Carmo makes the move stick as we just cut away, but Bruno De Carmo has got the job done, and it is a good move there from Bruno. That is now Aguirre, who comes into the pit lane in his BMW, so that's another man to join the pit stop crew, meaning anyone from 7th below has now made their pit stop here in this race. We're almost at the halfway point. Simon, Zuba, Valero, Felipe, Dean, Chico, I'm sure we'll be leaving it for late in the race. They could prove me wrong, but that's usually what these guys do. They stay out late and then make the pit stop. The pit stop usually the deciding factor here in these AMX races, but it's very close tonight, so I'm not sure it will be.
You might say that it will be because, again, different strategies. Some guys pitted at the end of lap 1, some pitted a lap after that, while other guys might try to put at the midpoint of the race where it's kind of like 50-50. And then you got guys who might try to go all the way to as the last possible lap to pit and just get that out of the way to just have a dash towards the line. And I think Simon and Zuba might be doing that one, as we can see from better further behind. That's a bit of a touch and a spin.
That is a spin, and that is Marco Savandra and Gianni Vecchio who have gone round. They made contact in towards Brooklands, up turn number 6, and now Gianni Vecchio is down into 18th position. Very disappointing for the Team Redline driver, who was running a very steady race. He's now down to the bottom, and he's got to keep going here, because usually when the drivers fall down the order, there'll be always the reverse grid to go. Vecchio's not currently on the reverse grid. The top 15 get reversed for heat number 2, so he's got to catch up to the man who was involved in that incident with Marco Savandra. He won't. He's pulled into the pit lane. Very disappointing for Vecchio, who will play no further part after that incident. Clearly some significant damage on his BMW.
Yeah, but Savidra actually had even worse damage, I think. It might have been Savidra or it might have been Cool Harvey, because it was another one of the BMW. It was a BMW in there with a Corvette as well. So Savidra is carrying it on with the damage to his car. He will be a bit compromised there, or rather quick repair will help solve that one. As meanwhile, we're up in front. This is 3rd and 4th. Valero and Felipe are really close together, so Valero is still keeping at arm's length towards Felipe, with Zuba and Simon just trying to scamper away.
The 2 bright red Fords lead the way. And then, no, apologies. Got that completely wrong. We'll try that again. The 2 bright red BMWs lead the way. And then it's the 2 Fords right behind. Admittedly, the Ford and the BMW are totally opposite cars, and I shouldn't be getting them confused. As you can see, the Ford is much flatter and longer than the BMW. Here's Gael Valero and Dino Felipe, though fighting nonetheless. It is Valero in front of Felipe behind, and Dino Felipe has been fantastic so far this season. Was fantastic last season as well. P5 overall in the championship. and was a P3 in the AMX forward-wheel driven championship. But he's up against a tough opponent in the form of Gael Valero. Felipe on pole, of course. He's already up 10 positions from where he started on the reverse grid, but hasn't made a pit stop yet. Neither has Gael. But that pit stop is going to be the crucial deciding factor, because Gerard Sardeni Jr. and Bruno De Carmo are flying and only 6 seconds off some drivers who haven't made their pit stops just yet.
But again, look at that delta. It might just be Sardini who did that pit stop at the start of the race, pulling off a brilliant strategic move to just probably win it here. But again, you can't count on chickens too soon. And if you love your football references, well, it's France versus Argentina all over again, isn't it? The 2022 World Cup, and just most recently in the Olympics men's tournament as well. France and Argentina went head-to-head. Both instances, we saw Argentina win the first one in 22, and then recently it was France winning. So let's see if these guys can actually try to either take the score of each other or level the score.
Yes, let's see. We were talking to Felipe after the Austrian AMX20 race, and he is a football fan, was supporting Argentina in the Copa America, which of course they went on to win. France were not able to go on to win the Euros, losing out to Spain. That's your football talk done for today's AMX20 race anyways. France and Argentina, I believe, played in the Rugby Sevens Championship as well in Paris, but we won't get into that one. On the racetrack, it's still a bit of a stalemate between the two, though. 0.3 seconds separating them. A little bit further down the field, Kieran Harrison's now up to 12th, just 1 second off David Tott. The thing here about cutting through the field is all these drivers are of an exceptionally high standard. So cutting through the field to go from 15th to 1st is extremely difficult. We saw how close qualifying was.
Indeed, it was just above a second from 1st all the way to 17th. For good measure, that's how close qualifying was. It's just ridiculous that this is like the best of the best on iRacing going at it here, going for broke and try to just race as hard as they could in virtually equal cars. It's proving to be quite an interesting proposition for those guys who just want to enter, but for those guys who are competing right now, they've already done that week in, week out. How close it is? Well, the proof is in the pudding right now. Look at that. First and second, 0.8 of a second, but third and fourth, only just a second behind them. This is going really close, and for the Hungarians up in front, their strategy of trying to run each other's slipstream have not worked out.
Yeah, usually in these AMX20s we get a good bit of field spread, as that scared me a little bit. That was Dino Felipe going much later into the stow braking zone than Gael Valero was. Usually we get a good bit of field spread in these AMX20 races, so it's really nice to see for a change, as Gael Valero has a full view of the number 33's front bumper if he looks into his wing mirrors, because Dino Felipe is coming. He is hunting down the Frenchman for third place in this race. These guys, as well as the top two and as well as the two behind them, have not made their mandatory pit stops yet in this race, so we do need to keep an eye on them. I imagine that'll come later in the session. As you can see, a little bit of a nudge from Felipe. Battle is starting to commence.
And you can see why Felipe is the second fastest driver in the entire field at this point, because he was the second fastest qualifier when we had the session here, just pipped right at the death by Kieran Harrison. But it looks as though if the things go as they are right now, Felipe might just fancy his chances here of staying in front of Harrison and get some good finishing, which is get a good finishing position compared to the Brits. As meanwhile, we're going to the Brit now. He's in that gaggle of cars, and it looks as though he's not breaking away or catching up to any one of them. It's pretty much even Stevens at this point.
Kieran Harrison running the Sim RC yellow, looking to try and bring that a little bit further up the grid. Speaking of further up the grid, here's Bruno De Carmo and Gerard Sardeni. This is the battle for the lead of the pitters, and De Carmo would love to take his third win of the evening. Won Heat 1 and Heat 2 in AMX Zero earlier on. If you watched that one, you'll know how fantastic that was. If you didn't, make sure you go and do it after our two heats here in Silverstone. It was the Toyota GR86 and Virginia International Raceway. A great car and track combination, as is this one providing here tonight. De Carmo gets a good exit on Gerard Sardeni Jr. down the Hangar Straight, the longest straight here in Silverstone, 770 metres, and you can see them battling it out, as well as Felipe and Dean towards the braking zone for the Vale chicane. DeCarmo has got ahead of Gerard Sardeni Jr. You can see DeCarmo is ahead in the battle for 7th, so Gerard just being done into the braking zone, but it's an extremely close fight there.
Yeah, that would be important because consider the fact that you can see the stop counter there. He's the leader of the guys among those who have stopped. This will be crucial. So if the Carmo can actually inch away from Sardini, he will stand a good chance of getting that 3rd straight win tonight. As a couple of people on the Twitch chat actually is asking, for example, like Sweet Trip saying that, too bad GT is done IRL. Yes, that's a real shame as well, but at least GT3s have proven to be quite a venerable replacements. And who's going to win this one? He's also asking. Ooh, quite tough, isn't it? He says that David Toff is going to win, but judging at where he is right now, it's going to be a bit of a bridge too far at this point.
Yeah, Toff needs a big performance from here on out if he wants to try and win this one. This is all going to come down to the pit stops. I know I said it probably wouldn't earlier, but it is. Looking at Jackson Resenge as well, you can see there in the number 11, battles happening in front and behind him, but he's in a steady enough position in 10th, just circling round in the BMW and looking to pick up a steady points finishes. Jackson wasn't able to take a full evening win last season, but did take 3 session wins and 2 fastest laps, so probably aiming for something similar here in the AMX20 Championship. So far this season, it's 10th, so not a bad job at all considering the quality of the grids we've had throughout this championship.
Yeah, and on his day, he will really be fast. Though again, you cast your minds back to just a few weeks ago where he was pipped at the line by Garvalero in the Formula 3 race at Sao Paulo of all places. He was really just inches away. And fair play to both of them. They were driving cleanly throughout the entire race. But at the end, the slipstream paid dividends for Valero and winning that one. As you can see now, Thomas Simon is the first of the drivers in that leading group to pull the trigger, and Filippo follows him suit as well. Now then, this is where it becomes crucial. Where is Gerard Sardini and Bruno Carmo going to be in relation to the guys who are pitting? This is going to be very close, Evan.
The new pit lane that was constructed here in Silverstone in 2011 is now getting a taste of Thomas Simon and Dino Filippo. Here is Gerard Sardeni Jr. in your picture-in-picture. He's heading around turn number 1. Gerard Sardeni Jr. Is he ahead? Oh, I don't think he is. Thomas Simon has come out in front of Bruno De Carmo and Gerard Sardeni Jr. and he has done enough. That's thrown a spanner into the works. This has opened this race right up. The pit lane very short here from the run down to Club and Abbey, and that is Thomas Simon, the Hungarian, who is ahead. The overcut looking the better strategy, but how's it going to fare for Peter Zuba, Gael Valero and Pedro Dean?
But that swap, remember, because Zuba gave the position to Simon, that might have been the one that is enough to give him that track position, the all-important track position here, because by right, he's in the net first place right now. We'll have to wait until Zuba, Valero and Dean do their pit stops, but Simon then, with a brilliant overcut to take away the lead from De Carmo, but he cannot rest for the time being. He still knows that the race is still pretty much on.
Yes, and Portino Filippo came out in 12th position behind Ruben Lorente, so that goes to show how close it is in this field. Now it is a big moment in this race for Peter Zuba, Gael Valero and Pedro Dean, because this pit stop will decide their fate. I imagine they'll be coming in the next couple of laps, not going to do a Michael Schumacher on it and leave it until the last lap of the race to come in and serve a penalty and win the race like he did. Are they going to come in? No, they'll carry on. So they know there's a chance in this race for them. Going to carry on and leave it as late as possible. Thomas Simon, Bruno De Carmo separated by 7/10 of a second, and with Thomas's pace, he could be home and dry potentially, but still a bit early to confirm.
Yeah, but you can see that the delta is about 12 seconds from himself and Zuba. So, as you said, it is a short pit lane. At least around about, 16 seconds from the stop and go. It might just be enough for Simon to take ahead. But we thought Sardini and De Carmo might actually just come through. But the pit stop proved to be enough. It was fast enough for Simon to get up in front. And I think the contributor might be the fact that the pit lane entry is so short compared to the rest of the circuit that it makes out so much time on the entry there.
Yeah, you don't have to do Vale and the Club sections of the circuit if you're pulling into the pit lane. The pit speed limit is quite low at Silverstone, but that obviously counteracts here in these GTE cars. It's very slow for a Formula 1 car, but obviously the GTE car is not as quick as a Formula 1 car. But you didn't need me to tell you that. Tobias Soriano gets ahead of Gerard Sedeni in the battle for 6th. As we see now, the number 15 just falling behind the Argentine. Tobias still very quick in that Ford. In all honesty, Amir, I think the BMW and the Ford are fairly even at this track. I haven't seen much of a difference between them.
Indeed, and in fact, it seems to be the car of choice. As you can see, the spread at the front, it does show one thing. The BMW and the Ford are very strong here. The Vets, they're thereabouts, but I think it's really dependent on a driver that can make the most of it. And we have not seen that yet, because one of the fast guys in that particular make, Marcus Saavedra, unfortunately got knocked out early, as we saw when he had a collision with him and Vecchio. We'll have to wait and see what he does in the second heat, but for this one, definitely it shows right now that the BMW and the Fords are the cars to go here.
Valero's in. Gael Valero is into the pit lane, as is Pedro Dean. Peter Zuba, the only man staying out. Picture in picture, Thomas Simon. Pit lane, Gael Valero. This is a crucial moment in this race between the Hungarian and the Frenchman. There is Thomas Simon heading down the main straight, but remember, it's a shorter run through the first corner for Gael Valero, and he's going to exit the pit lane now. This is going to be extremely close. You can see them both here, but Thomas Simon just about gets ahead in towards turn number 2 and turn number 3. Tobias Soriano Bruno De Carmo, I should say, will follow. Soriano cannot get it done. Valero still in 4th though. Race on. This is very close for the race win.
Wow, and on the penultimate lap too, no less. But again, that race-winning move, or rather the race-winning team move that made this one, had to be when Peter Zuba gave Thomas Simon the clean air to go up in front. And after that, he just punched in lap after lap after lap up in front to get up to where he is right now. That proved to be the most crucial moment in the entire race. Now is where is Zuba going to come out in relation to the rest of the field here, because he still hasn't stopped yet. We'll wait and see what he does. But his pace, well, it hasn't looked too bad, but it has dropped off significantly compared to the guys who have actually stopped. So 3/10 last time out, this might be very close, Evan. If he could somehow conjure up the pace before he comes to the pits and still stay somewhere in that top 3, it will be a masterful drive, but he will have to drive out of his skin to do that.
The Silverstone Circuit stretches across 2 counties, North Hampshire and Buckinghamshire. The tension at the Silverstone Circuit right now could stretch across 2 stratospheres, because this is really building up to a great final lap, where Thomas Simon has to defend from Bruno De Carmo and Gael Valero. Peter Zuba is now into the pit lane. This is a deciding factor. Can Zuba get in and out before Thomas Simon heads through the apex of farm of turn number 2 to take the race lead? Hungarian versus Hungarian here on British soil. Keep an eye on Gael Valero and Bruno De Carmo as well, because if one mistake comes from Thomas Simon, he could lose the race lead, and the podium places are to be decided as well. Zuba is now on pit exit. Or is he? No, sorry, he's in the last pit box. So he's into the box now. Going to pull out of it immediately. Straight out of the pit exit comes Peter Zuba. This is going to be so close between the 2 almost identical cars. But Thomas Simon is ahead. And Simon is going to be home and dry. It's side by side between Zuba and Valero. No mistakes from Thomas now. And he will take the race win. Valero runs wide. That allows Peter Zuba to go side by side in towards the arena section. Peter Zuba trying a move that we saw from Oscar Piastri this year in Formula 1. These are very different conditions to the one that one was made in though. Zuba tucks into the slipstream, heading down towards Brooklands corner. The left-hander at turn number 6. Is the Hungarian going to try a lunge down the inside? No, he isn't. Has to brake early to defend from Tobias Soriano as well.
Ooh, so can we say that Zuba was the sacrificial lamb in order to make Simon's victory a possibility? You can say that, but that was a good team move from Zuba to give Simon the move ahead just now. When look at the Zuba couldn't have the pace. Now Simon is reaping the benefits of that one. He got the best of the strategy, got clear air up in front. Now he's only about 2.5 kilometers away from recording a very, very good win.
Here he is through Maggots, Beckett and Chapel for one final time in this heat at least. We've heat 2 coming up after this one, but in this heat at least, it will be Thomas Simon who takes the race win. Keep an eye on Peter Zuba and Gael Valero. Zuba's got the run on Valero down towards the right-hander. He's tucked in behind the Frenchman, but I think the Ford GT might just have enough in a straight line down the 770-metre hanger straight. There's movement as well with David Todt, the championship leader, who always wants more points, and especially more prizes. Simon's in the pits. They're all in the pit lane. It's a shorter run to the line, so they're all taking the pit lane. Oh my goodness me! Have you ever seen the like? The pit lane is shorter than the final corners, so they're all taking it. The entire race is going to be finished in the pit lane. Thomas Simon wins the Hungarian Grand Prix from the pit lane. Gael Valero second from the pits. Zuba from the pits. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in a sim race.
And did you just say, okay, one, you said Hungarian Grand Prix, but we'll let you off that. But didn't you say earlier the way that Michael Schumacher won it in 1998 in similar conditions when he won from the pit lane? Well, there you go. It just happened, Evan.
Yeah, not the Hungarian Grand Prix, but the directors could even confirm. I had my head in my hands. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I've never seen a race decided in the pit lane like that. That was crazy. There was some positional change in that as well. Thomas Simon takes the win ahead of Gael Valero in second. Bruno De Carmo has gone to 15th. Then it is Peter Zuba in third, Tobias Soriano in fourth, Gerard Sedin Jr. in fifth, Ruben Lorente in sixth, Pedro Dean in seventh, David Todt in eighth, Kieran Harrison in ninth, Juan Blanat in 10th, Dino Filippi 11th, Martin Chico 12th, Marcus Savindra in 13th, Gaston Calhavi in 14th, Bruno De Carmo in 15th, ahead of Jackson Resenge, Santiago Aguirre and Giovanni Vecchio. Wow. I tell you what, it was a great race, but a very dramatic ending that's made that fantastic.
I think the guys who are going to make the highlight reels after this put onto the promo material may be running out of video to work with, because that was an insane final corner. And you did mention earlier, if someone was to do a Michael Schumacher, the whole field did it. And plus, I also mentioned about the pit lane being shorter compared to the end of the final sector. It happened as well. So two things converge in one go, and I have to say that is one of the most amazing guns I've seen in sim racing, bar none.
Yeah, it turns out the commentators do actually know what we're talking about. It's going to be an interesting one then. For heat number 2 is Bruno De Carmo on the front row alongside Gaston Calhavi. And Bruno is going to be a man who is going to be furious the fact he wasn't given a high result like he deserved. I think he was the only one who actually took the full layout. So Bruno De Carmo, fueled with passion, going to try and take something here in heat number 2 as we go racing at Silverstone for this second heat of race 40 here in the AMX20 Championship. De Carmo leads Savindra, who leads Gaston Calhavi. Keep an eye on Felipe in fourth in the 33. Very quick in qualifying, took second place, of course. They break for the first corner. Seems like we're all safely through for the time being. Peter Zuba is making moves, as is Santiago Aguirre.
Yep, again, amazingly clean start, though I might just spoken too soon, because we can see that Thomas Simon, the winner of race 1, is sent all the way to the back, so he might have been involved with Tobias Oriano there. But apart from that, everybody else has got their way cleanly.
Mark Chico looking to try and make a move on Juan Blanat. This is for 6th place. The number 5 just staying ahead for the time being. Kieran Harrison as well. Keep an eye on him in 5th. The man who took pole in the dying embers of the session. He would love a much better race than heat number 1 was. Keep an eye on the pitters as well on this first lap. These drivers are loving the Silverstone pit lane here today as they making the moves. A comment there coming up, and it is a great point to say, Gianni Vecchio already up to 14th. It's boding nicely for a successful race for the Italian.
But though again, we could say the same thing for the other guys who were in that particular position. If it was going well, it is quite close. So if you want to do a pit stop, you gotta have to do it at the end of the first lap and see where the others are doing it. As we can see what happened to that's Simon. He definitely took out Soriano there, and then Soriano, unfortunately, when he got back in the throttle, just pit maneuvered Simon into a spin, and that pretty much has compromised his race from the first lap. But he still got plenty of laps here to just recover from that spin, as now the pit stops once again have begun, Evan.
Yep, loads of guys in the pit lane. Bruno De Carmo and Marcus Savender, not one of them, they're going to carry on. Filippo carrying on as well. He likes his strategy from the last race, as is Petr Zuba. Thomas Simon pitting on the opening lap, so he didn't fancy going the long way like he did to win heat number 1, win just about with all those pit lane shenanigans. Here's Kieran Harrison down the inside of Gaston Kilhavy. Kilhavy defends in towards the arena. Harrison going to try the long loop here. He has Juan Nats looking to make a move right behind as well. Harrison has been done by Gaston Kilhavy, and now under pressure from the Argentine of Juan Nat in the battle for 5th. Is Harrison going to take a defensive line down towards Brooklands, the left-hander? I'm not too sure, as Kieran Harrison will stay ahead. Didn't need the defensive line. Nat just couldn't get alongside.
Or picture this, Azteca 1986. You know where that's going. The hand of God moment for one of these guys. And for Harrison, he will love to get one over the Argentines right in front of him. 3 of them, in fact. But the one behind is looking really punchy. Nat is on his tail as we go back up to the front between 2 nations that are always rivals to each other sporting-wise. A Brazilian and an Argentine, with the Carmo in front of Saavedra. This is going to be really close. And again, coming through Magazine Backets, you think you might want to try on the inside, but no, only bikes can make the maneuver through there. And sensibly, Saavedra thought better of it, but he's willing to just compromise it and try to use the slipstream on Hanger Straight.
I'm loving the football references today. This is fantastic, as we see Marcus Savender looking to try and get down the inside of Bruno De Carmo. No, doesn't go for it. Wasn't able to make the move. Mentioning motorcycles, MotoGP today at Silverstone, of course, and Ea Bastianini taking the win. Jake Dixon winning in Moto2 in front of his home crowd. So Kieran Harrison, who we see heading into the pit lane now, will look to repeat that as he takes the race lead briefly, but it will be taken off once he hits that pit limiter button.
But now let's see who's the faster of the pit crews, because we saw just now Harrison actually when he made his pit stop, he managed to jump a position in pit lane, so he got his car stopped on the jacks much faster and then got off it sooner with the other guys. So that'll be interesting if he could actually stay in front of Nat and overtake a car in front of him for good measure in the pit exit. As you can see, yep, he stays ahead, and Nat in fact loses position to Toff, but Toff makes up 2. Wow. So, a couple of drivers shopping changing there. As you can see, the onboard Bruno De Carmo, how close he was to Filippo.
Yeah, David Toth, the leader of the pitters now. Gianni Vecchio has had his pit stop hasn't registered. I wonder, is he going to have to come into the pit lane again, because he was just in the pits there. We saw him in the pit lane, but his pit stop has not registered. Might try to get confirmation on that one. That would be probably the end of the evening for Gianni Vecchio if that happened, and it would be utterly disappointing if that's how his race ended.
And given the fact that at the top of the show I did mention about another Italian that came a cropper here while leading the race, so we think that Vecchio might just be able to avenge him. Looks as though it might have to put that particular plan to bed. It's not been the best of days for Gianni Vecchio, and that botched pit stop may just put pay to any sort of good result he was going to have today.
Yeah, Silverstone has been nice to Italians in previous history. 1951, Ferrari took their first win in Formula 1 here around Silverstone. But in modern times, it's not been nice to the Italian of Gianni Vecchio. Bruno De Carmo is staying ahead of Dino Filippo, despite Filippo's close attempts at making a move. Remember, Filippo is usually one to watch in heat number 2 as De Carmo comes into the pit lane. So he is going for a similar strategy that he went for in heat number 1 with an early pit stop.
And incidentally, we are now going to have an Argentine in first place. And remember, when you said about Ferrari winning their first ever race in Formula 1 at Silverstone, it was actually being driven by an Argentine, Jose Florin Gonzalez, of course. So the Pampas Bull that time around took the win for the Scuderia. Let's see if any of the Argentines here can emulate the great Argentines of the past, like Gonzalez or Fangio, to win here today.
Yeah, it reminds me of olden day Formula 1, this, with how many Argentines we have being very successful, as Dino Filippo, Marcos Savender, Martin Chico, and Gaston Kilhavy are currently 1, 2, 3, and 4. Gianni Vecchio gets ahead of Gerard Sardeni Jr. Bruno De Carmo, as you can see, is looking to try and attack Kieran Harrison down towards the left-hander of Brooklands, as this is looking like it's not going to be a move for De Carmo. No, not quite close enough. As there was a question in the stream chat there, Ramir. I'm not sure if you have the answer to it. Why wouldn't a pit stop register?
Oof. That's actually a good one because, as far as I'm aware, because there is no pit request button on iRacing, you have a crew chief that you can assign someone to do it for you. The possibility might be that you missed your box, which would be an embarrassing thing as well because the car got serviced anyway, but yet the pit stop didn't register. So it might just be a bug that we discovered because sometimes when new updates come along, we would see that. But maybe for Vecchio, he might have misjudged his pit box, so that's why his one didn't register while the others did.
Yeah, heartbreaking from a man who has a lot of experience. Definitely has made iRacing pit stops before because he's a keen endurance racer. P2 at Sebring for Team Redline in the 12 hours this year, and of course, as we mentioned earlier, one in Watkins Glen. Into the pits now, though, comes two drivers. That's Martin Chico and Gaston Cohavi. We're on board with Daffy Todd, looking back at Kieran Harrison. Both these guys have made their pit stops, and we're getting a lot more pitters in the early stages here in Heat 2 than we are compared to Heat number 1. I think they know that the undercut, bar Thomas Simon, was the correct strategy.
Indeed, and the fact that for Simon, he was actually the guy who was the most middle of the pit stoppers, I would say, because he was not undercutting anybody, but he was certainly overcutting a few drivers who pitted way before him, and that really worked out a treat. Plus, he had clean air because Zuba gave him away. Now that he's right at the back, and we thought he was out for one point, that may be the case for other drivers to try and emulate his strategy.
At 5:14, we're on board with Team SimRC's Kieran Harrison. Just clocking over 220, 230, 240 km/h, braking in towards Brooklands. Kieran Harrison, of course, in the Ford GTE 3.5 litre EcoBoost V6 on board. That can do 0 to 60 mile an hour, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3 seconds flat. So fairly good acceleration for Kieran Harrison. 306 kilometers top speed, although probably won't really get near that. Would be more your Le Mans, your Daytonas, where you get to speeds such as that. Although Silverstone used to be on the WEC calendar, I should say. Sorry. A lot of British endurance fans definitely want to see it back.
Yeah, certainly I would love it to see it back as well. But unfortunately, it seems as though the WEC seems to be allergic to Silverstone because, again, for the 6th straight year, we don't have Silverstone on the calendar. Maybe possibly 2026 at best, but again, they're not looking to expand the calendar, unfortunately.
No, they aren't, although the WEC having great success as this one play Nat. Hearing his move on Peter Zuba as Zuba. No, sorry, that's not Peter Zuba. That's one play Nat versus Ruben Lorente, because Zuba, of course, is in the red BMW behind. This is Blaine Nat looking to go for the move on Ruben Lorente Jr. Hook it around the outside. Goes one Blaine Nat, and that is an absolute beauty of an overtake. But Ruben Lorente is going to fight it back here, and you can see he just flicks onto the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight, narrowly ahead, side by side, down towards Abbey, off turn number 1. It is going to be Juan Blaine Nat who's ahead, but Ruben Lorente somehow holds his GTE in this fight. It's 2 by 2 they go. Gianni Vecchio and Pedro Zuba looking to get involved as well. Here goes Vecchio, dives down the inside of Ruben Lorente, and now Vecchio is ahead. Is Vecchio going to be able to get past Juan Plainat as well? It would be 3 overtakes in about 4 or 5 corners if Gianni Vecchio was able to make the move, but I don't think he is. Battle will still commence behind between Pedro Zuba and Juan Plainat. It will just be Plainat ahead, Vecchio then behind, then Lorente and Zuba.
Well, Lorente really got shafted, as you can see Zuba now climbs on the inside coming through left field, but it's the sort of battle that you do not want because it will feel this close. Yes, you might have a clean battle side by side all the way, but it does cost you time, and with guys behind that can be actually quite fast to overtake you in a heartbeat, that was exactly what Lorente didn't want, and he is paying the price for this here as he is battling still with Zuba, and Zuba, despite looking really clear-cut to overtake a few drivers, has actually lost position in that particular battle, and he's still somehow in 10th.
Yeah, Peter Zuba, Ruben Lorente Jr. side by side through Cop's corner for a moment there. That is not something for the faint-hearted. Gerard Sardeni looking to now get involved in this fight as well. There is a train from Juan Plainat all the way down towards Tobias Soriano. We're now looking at Kieran Harrison and David Toth. Your P2 overall from Season 4. your current championship leader from Season 5 AMX20, now in the fight. David Todd, of course, being the latter and the man ahead here in this Season 5 Race 40. We're coming up to the final few weeks of AMX, folks, so make sure you do pop a subscription on all our social media channels to keep up to date with this fabulous racing. Pedro Dean into the pit lane. That promotes these folks up to third, meaning Dino Filippa and Marcus Saavedra are the only two who have not made pit stops yet. And of course, we are still pending an answer to Gianni Vecchio's problems.
Yeah, let's see if he's going to enter the pits again, but I doubt it, because he will make an argument, a very strong one at that he did come to the pits, he did stop, but then somehow the simulator did not register his pit time. So that will be quite a weird one for the stewards to wrangle their way out of that one. But again, it has happened before where the driver did not physically he was in the pits, but it did not register on the timing board and has been disqualified before. So it might be another slam dunk here for Vecchio, but we'll wait and see what the stewards think of this.
I know in Season 4 in the ACC Championship, practically every race was decided by mess-ups in the pit lane, so it seems like Gianni Vecchio's race here will be decided by that as well. He's currently in 7th behind Juan Blanat. We saw him involved in that fantastic scrap indeed. Here he is, we're looking at him now. Doesn't look like a man worried about what went wrong in the pit lane. Looks fairly calm, does Gianni Vecchio, but I suppose that's what a load of years of sim racing experience bring to you. The Team Redline man doing a good job indeed. Much better job, I think, in Heat 2 than Heat number 1, but of course Heat 1 he was involved in that incident. Here's SimRC's Kieran Harrison now, as the top two do come into the pit lane, meaning David Todt will lead Heat number 2 here in AMX20. We are just reaching the halfway point of this race now. Is it a straight fight maybe between Todt and Harrison for this one?
Ooh, hard to say, but again, we're not sure if Filippa's pace was enough to stay ahead. Though it did look good in the previous lap. Not this one, of course. He did 56 as he entered the pits, because again, short pit run to the pit lane. Now they're in and going out again. It looks as though it might just pay off for Filippa here.
Oh, here he goes. Here comes the Argentine. We said it was a straight fight between Todt and Harrison. We did not take into account Dino Filippa, who leads on lap number 8 of 14 here in AMX20. Now it's a straight fight between Dino, David and Kieran for the race victory. 4, 6 and 4 positions gained respectively for the trio. Everybody now making their stop, bar of course Gianni Vecchio, who has been into the pit lane, but it's just not being registered on our timing screens. Now this gets very interesting. 4 tenths between 1 and 2, 4 between 2 and 3, 7 between 3 and 4, then 5 between 4 and 5. It's a 5-car shootout for the win.
Wow, wait. And remember, Silverstone saw plenty of great battles over the years, especially for championships. Although it's not for a championship fight in this one. Cast your minds back to BTCC 1992 in that finale, when Tim Harvey won it under the nose of Steve Soper and John Cleland in that one. So it is a Super 7 up in front, shall we say, including Vecchio. Somehow he's still in there despite not registering a pit stop, but he is a factor here because actually going to this battle. There you can see the 4 drivers on the inset. Filippa, Top, Harrison and the Carmel all in one shot and all in earshot of each other.
Look at this weaving. This is turning into one of the AMX NASCAR races. Dino Filippa starting the worm down the hangar straight. 770 meters of it being filled with 17 AMX cars. Poor Tomasimo has had the complete opposite of what he had in heat number 1. He led most of heat number 1. He's now down in 17th. And some problems as well for Gael Valero, who's currently 16th. So very disappointing for those two drivers.
Yeah, two of the guys that we tipped to do the business unfortunately did not have the best of second heats here. So they will be a non-factor this one. But to decide who's going to win up here, if you were to be gambling on these guys, it will be quite difficult to call, isn't it? They are absolute race winners, the lot of them. But who can actually hold their nerve the best in tight situations like this? We really cannot say for sure. As you can see now, Harrison is trying to work on Toff. Toff likewise is going to work on Filippa here. The 4 of them still on each other's crosshairs.
Just listen to it roar. Down in towards Brooklands and Luffield. David Todt trying to extract every ounce of horsepower, straight line speed of downforce just try and overtake Dino Felipe. But Felipe is doing a fantastic job. Dino and David have fought for wins here in AMX20 in the past, in AMX in the past, and they're going to do it again here. If you want to check out the live timing, you can, of course, the QR code there on the right hand side, folks, on the insert. But you don't need a timing screen to see how close it is in this field.
Certainly, and in fact, if you look at it from an overall standpoint, everyone within at least about, 18 seconds from first all the way to whoever's in 17th right now, which is Thomas Limon. That is crazy pace. It's almost like MotoGP, where we had one of the most competitive races, I think, just a few years back. First to 20th, separated by just 16 seconds. So, again, just a testament to how good these guys are. The 4K rating just proves it, isn't it?
Yeah, remember that monster finish in MotoGP? Alex Rins, I think it was, in the final corner, swooping down the inside. Our final corner is the pit lane, of course, for this heat, so you got to remember that. Gianni Vecchio getting past Juan Blaine-Nat in the battle for 6th. We're on board still with Kieran Harrison, looking to try to move on David Todd. Lap 10 of 14 here in Silverstone. Oh, just look how dead even those lap times are for the top 3. My goodness, this is an extreme show.
Yeah, it's basically now just really threading the needle every single corner, then trying to find an econ advantage to the guy in front. Really, it's too close to call here, but for Felipe, he might be sweating bullets right now. He's the one leading the field, right, with these two guys right behind being fast. But again, we know Dino can win races when he has the win in his sails, but this might just be one of his hardest races to win, because the gap between himself and the guy in third right now is just under 0.8 of a second. You cannot slice it any closer than that.
Yeah, we see Sabata just heading in towards the right-hander, just chasing down Bruno De Carmo. 1 to 2 earlier races in AMX Zero, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to win this one.
Yeah, how you'll love to win 3 one day, but I think 3 podiums at this point and another top 5. It's a good day's work, isn't it? He really will just be laughing all the way to the bank with this one, but he's going to have to battle with an Argentine behind, as we're coming into this final 4 laps after this in what has been a very riveting race, and it's still not over yet. It's just, again, the quality of the field. The minimum 4K rating just shows you one thing. It really does set a really high standard for these guys to just go out and just put on a great show for us to watch.
Yeah, it's a minimum of 4K rating, but there's guys in the 10,000s here, Gianni Vecchio being one of them. There's a lot in the 9s, Felipe Tot, some in the 8s, 7s, all the way down. It really is a high quality grid here. But we would like to see these high quality drivers go scrapping. I wonder, are they just settling for what they've got? But I don't think David Todd has that mentality. I think David Todd is going to go for this one. He's just waiting for the right time to strike.
Yep, and case in point, the lap time 600 faster. Again, they're all within a 10th of a second of each other. You just cannot slice it any closer than that. It's just the best drivers in the biz on this simulator doing their thing. Really just showing us why they are here to get the big bucks. Really, really nice to see. As we can see, someone says, let's go Lionel Messi. So Dino Felipe channels inner Lionel here in that 2022 World Cup final and tried to hang on for dear life against a magical Magyar and an Englishman in third place.
The Messi of AMX. I'm sure Dino would like that nickname, but I think I'm banned from making nicknames after Jaws for Peter Zuba, who is down in 8th and unfortunately not having a great race here tonight, not as good as he was. David Todd still just staying close. Just look at the sector times at the bottom of your screen, folks. There's a fingernail in between them. There's nothing separating these 3 drivers.
Really, you got, again, even thinner than a hair, I would say. It's just, you blink, then all 3 cars will just pass you, and they'll be the next corner by the time you actually realize they've passed you. So, really, really close right now. Just can't, I don't envy Dino's position at this point. I wouldn't want to be in this one. It's just way too tense. It's really, again, the epitome of how this competition has gotten from strength to strength, season after season. We got some of the best drivers involved here. Waxing lyrical just is not enough at this point.
We're now looking at Bruno De Carmo. He's got Marcus Saavedra right behind, 0.2 of a second behind. In fact, this is the battle for fourth between the Brazilian and the Argentine. Everyone, of course, has made their pit stops here in this second heat. We're not waiting for heat number one. Or sorry, we're not waiting for the pit stops like we were in heat number one. Gael Valero has got ahead of Pedro Dean. Those were two of the later ones to pit in heat number one. Your biggest gainer so far in this race is Gianni Vecchio, but of course we are waiting to see what his status is in regards to that potentially non-registered pit stop. Oh, David Todt very close to Dino Filippa, heading in towards the arena of turn number 4 and 5. Is this his best opportunity down towards Brooklands? Tucked into the slipstream of the machine in front of him. It is a Ford for Filippa, a BMW for David Todt. I wonder is Dino Filippa just starting to panic a little bit because Todt is not going anywhere. He's gone for the lunge, but no good. That's not close enough.
And case in point, why he knows that Toff is there, he actually threw a block. So again, he's going to have to rely on his racecraft here to keep the best drivers behind for him. And he is actually quite one of the finest we've had in AMX as well. Though this will be one of his greatest wins if he could hold off for this one. Coming up now to Cop's corner. Let's see if the gaps are going to maintain as they are. Who's going to get a good exit? Well, speaking of exits, that was Filippo really going real wide. Let's hope he didn't get a penalty for that one.
Yeah, last thing he needs now is a 1x or some form of slowdown, because it is a tight tussle here in this top three. Filippa, Todt, Harrison, all so close, but Dino Filippa's had a monster third sector there. 0.2 of a second quicker than David Todt. Todt has made that mistake with that running wide. That invites the home hero of Kieran Harrison to maybe have a look.
Yeah, he only... Imagine walking away from this particular round with just the pole position. Yes, he was fastest in qualifying, but how he would love to complement that with a win. And a few people are actually theorizing at the bottom. Is he going to try something? Of course he is. He definitely has tried really crazy stunts before, and he has worked out in previous races and seasons. But this might just be quite tough, isn't it? We saw how the finale to the British Grand Prix, that Hamilton really had to hang on for that win. He's doing the exact opposite. He's the one on the prowl.
He is. Doesn't have to hang on here because he's dropped Bruno De Carmo. He's a man who has all the cards in his hand. The ball is in Todt and Harrison's court. Filippa's just trying to defend. But remember, these guys are going to have to go for it soon because we're on the penultimate lap here of AMX20, race 40 at Silverstone. Here in these GTE cars, we have just over 7 kilometers to race here, and Filippa is still making defensive moves down the Wellington Straight. David Todt still looking to try and go for this one. Dino Filippa just doing an excellent job though. He's having to work extremely hard for this, and you can see the level of concentration on board these two drivers' eyes.
Oof. And you can see that Filippa is probably chewing gum in there somewhere, or he's really puffing his lips right now. We saw his reaction, completely opposite feeling of how he was tipped to the fastest time in qualifying. Now he is trying to hang on for top spot for dear life now. Really is the most stressful position he's going to be in. He probably did not expect it to be this close, but it has turned out that way.
Yes, it has. And they'll have one more lap to survive, and a weird, crazy ending to the race that we've seen in the pit lane. We're heading down the Hanger Straight for the second final time in towards Stowe Corner. Kieran Harrison is going for a move very soon. I can feel it because he's been teeing it up for the last couple of laps. Harrison as well, an extreme concentration on board. He wants the best result in front of his home crowd at a circuit he knows oh so well and has succeeded in the past. On to the final lap then of heat number 2 of AMX20, race 40. Dino Filippa leads David Todt, who leads Kieran Harrison, but there is less than a second separating the top 3 in AMX's longest race format, which goes to show just how good these guys are. Filippa a 1/10 of a second slower than Todt and Harrison on the last lap. Todt just marginally quicker than Kieran Harrison. Is David Todt going to go for anything reckless? No, he isn't. Kieran Harrison punishing his brakes, braking as late as possible.
But look at that, Filippa actually made a mistake on the exit coming out of the arena section. He was on the throttle there, the car got a bit squirrely, and that might provide Toff with an opportunity to try one here coming through Brooklands. He is much closer compared to previous laps, but still not even close enough to actually think of a move coming onto the inside into Brooklands. So Filippa survives for now for this overtaking spot, but he still has a couple of more to just stave off.
Dino Filippo doing everything he can. It's up to David Todd and Kieran Harrison. The exits they get out of this this Luffield hairpin, I should say, from turn number 7. David Todd just doesn't seem close enough to Dino Filippo. Harrison just doesn't seem close enough to David Todd. It is a game of parts of a second. And look at this from Kieran Harrison. What a run he's got through Cobb's Corner down towards Magus Beckett's and Chapel. He couldn't, could he? Could he make a move in the most dangerous part of the circuit for these GTE machines in towards the right-hander of Beckett's and down towards the second right-hander of the Chapel curve? Down the hanger straight, 770 metres Filippo has to survive, and then the crazy run into the pit lane. It's weaving and weaving all the way down the straight from the Argentine of Dino Filippo, who's looking to take another big win here in AMX20. Harrison's not able to get the job done on David Todd. Is it going to end in the same crazy way that heat number 1 is? It is. They're all pulling into the pit lane. Can someone brake later on the entrance? Because they all still got to obey pit speed. They won't. Dino Filippo's going to win here in heat number 2. And what a win it is. He had to work extremely hard for that one.
Wow, 2 consecutive races that we saw that, but the same fist bump that we saw earlier from Filippo when he had provisional pole time is the same celebration we see, but this time he is doing it for a race win. How he had to work for that one. You can see his eyes wide open right now. He is still pumped from that one, Evan.
Yes, there was a sigh of relief almost as he came across the pit lane start-finish line. I'm never going to get over that. That's still mental. But Dino Filippo is your Ben Q session winner. What a fabulous job indeed, and he is going to be delighted with the prize pool from this one. Was disappointed not to take pole, but he's got the win. And that is all that matters. We'll have your full race results now, folks, and you can see Dino Filippo taking the win ahead of David Toth in 2nd, Kieran Harrison 3rd, Bruno De Carmo in 4th, Marco Salvador in 5th, and of Gianni Vecchio in 6th, who has got 6th as well. So Juan Blenat in 7th, Peter Zuba in 8th, Ruben Lorente Jr. in 9th, Gerard Sardeni Jr. in 10th, Tobias Soriano in 11th, Jackson Resenje in 12th, Gael Valero in 13th, Pedro Dean in 14th, with Martin Chico in 15th, and it was Tomasimo, Gaston Kilhafi and Santiago Aguirre. Santiago actually taking the fastest lap despite finishing 10 laps down. That is rather impressive.
Yeah. At least he got $30 for his troubles anyway, so that's some consolation for Aguiar. But we have to take our breaths again because 2 tense races that went all the way to the pit lane. And yes, we had to normally say start-finish line, but the start-finish line in this case was a shorter run through the pit lane in both instances. It's absolutely mad, and Silverstone with the GT cars have provided, I think, some of the best racing throughout the entire season.
In terms of AMX20, they did. That was a really nice car and track combination, and one that I look forward to seeing next season again. But we're going to hopefully have a couple of interviews coming up for you folks in a few moments' time. But Amir, overall, I think Heat 2 was a little bit less chaotic than Heat number 1.
It was a bit more tense, I would say, because we didn't know how the whole thing's going to go. Because, again, it looked quite boilerplate for a second because everyone's just minding their own business, doing their own strategies, and just driving very clean races. Apart from just a few side-by-side battles, it was evident of one thing. The cars can race closely, but it's a bit hard to overtake because GT cars have that kind of tendency where it's up to the drivers making mistakes for an overtake to happen. And for these guys, some of them, yes, mistakes happen, but for the most part, you have to actually pry the door open to get through. And that's why we see some of those side-by-side battles that encourage more drivers to join. But in this case, towards the end, in heat number 2, everyone's just almost following single file because, again, it's just slightly difficult to overtake the GTEs, but the racing was close.
Yeah, and in terms of the overall bigger picture, I suppose, in terms of the championship, David Toth, all but summed up now for him. A great race from him tonight in second place as well, I think.
Indeed, and he will be happy either way. He gets to extend his points lead at the top, but he'll be a bit miffed by the fact that he didn't get the best of first heats because, again, probably due to a mix-up in the strategy or he just got stopped by traffic. Whatever it is, at the end of the day, the bigger picture for him is probably going to look much rosier compared to what happened in this race.
And speaking of David Hutton, we're going to hear from him now, folks. We will go to an interview and see what he has to say about this evening's action. David, hello, can you hear me?
Hey guys, hello, yeah.
A good race tonight. You got second in the second heat, not the best result in the first heat. Are you happy overall?
Yeah, I would say I'm happy with the second finish in Heat 2 because our car choice was not the best, to be honest. I cannot do anything in the straights. I was happy that I could keep Kieran behind me. So yeah, at least the second race wasn't that chaotic because I got a hit in the first heat, and from that point on it was a bit hard race, because I got a slowdown, so I had to stop completely. But yeah, overall it was a very fun and very competitive race. I would say it was very close pace with everyone.
In terms of the overall championship then, you have a big points lead heading into the final week. Can you relax a little bit now?
Yeah, I will do the same thing as I did today. I will prepare a bit, trying out all the cars, and hopefully I can pick a better one that time. But yeah, I will fully focus on the championship in the last race.
David, thank you very much for joining us. Greatly appreciate you talking to us, and congratulations on the podium tonight.
Thank you.
Next up then, we are going to hear from the man who won the second heat there, just narrowly beating David, and the Argentine of Dino Felipe. It was a great race for him in that second heat, managed to defend off for the win, and we hope to hear from him very shortly. In terms of the championship for Dino, it is not as high up as David. He's only 13th, of course, but we do look forward to hearing what he has to say. Dino, hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Evan.
Firstly, you lost pole in the last second. Just how did that feel? Because we found out through your reaction.
Yes. My lap. I think I lost a little time on Beckett, and I am not sure this is a time for pole. But I am seeing all the guys are closing his laps, and I think, okay, this is pole. And on the last second, Kieran can improve a little. And yes, that was frustration, but this is what it is.
In terms of Heat 2 then, you drove excellently, but you were under huge pressure at the end. Just how stressful was that situation? Because I think me and Amir in the commentary box were stressed for you.
Yes. Ford. I think the Ford is GR on straight, and on the first part of the race, and on the middle and the last part started struggling with the traction. And I think, okay, David is running in a similar times, and I think, okay, I have to stop and try to defend on track the first position. Well, I think I can defend because the Ford is Giga on straight, and he can't attack on the final straights.
And here's a quick short list for you. Michael Schumacher, Thomas Simon and Dino Felipe. 3 drivers that have won in the pit lane at Silverstone. How weird did that feel?
Yes. I know this because my teammate says if you finish the race on pit lane is faster. But on the first race, I am on, I think, 10th position, and I see on the relative, okay, if I don't finish the race on pit stop, I lost 3-4 position, and that gives me a start on pole on the second race. And I think the start was good because on the second hit I can start really ahead, and this is really important on these races because all the guys are really close on pace.
Dino, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on the Heat 2 win tonight, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Okay, thanks. Greeting for you and all MX League. And this race, I have to give this race to Toby Soriano, my son. Bye.
Thank you very much, Dino. We will have one more interview with Kieran Harrison coming up after this one, the home hero. We heard from a lot of Hungarians in the Hungaroring, so it's only fair to hear from him here in Great Britain. It was a podium finish in the final heat, so we'll have to ask him about that, and of course his pole position tonight. Hello Kieran, can you hear me?
Yes, I got you.
Pole position in front of the home crowd, how did that one feel?
That was a particularly good way to do it. I think I got the lap in with literally like a second on the clock, and you saw how close it was, so I was delighted to get the pole.
Heat 1 maybe didn't go to plan, but got a podium in heat number 2. Are you happy overall with how tonight's results were?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, it's always decent if you survive incident free. I think I lost a little bit tactically. I don't think I pitted at the right time in either race. It was one of them where I pitted early in race 1 and then I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And then in race 2, when I actually should have pitted early, I didn't, because I thought in race 1 the opposite. But yeah, that Ford gets hard to drive later in the race, so it's quite hard to send it. I mean, I was sat behind David for the whole race there, but just couldn't quite get close enough to get the move on him in race 2. But yeah, overall pretty happy.
Yeah, speaking of the Ford, from our perspective, it looked fairly similar. But did you think the BMW or the Ford was the better option for tonight?
I think the Ford seemed to be quicker on one lap pace. Like pretty clearly in quali, it looked like they were the fastest cars. But it's just as the race went on, it was a bit on edge, like both on the brakes and on traction. And the BMW seemed to sort of pull back the gap in pace as the race went on. It seemed to hold on to its tyres a little better. I didn't drive it, so it's hard to comment, but that's how it felt from my perspective.
Kieran, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate your insight there. Congratulations on the pole and the podium, and we look forward to seeing you again on track soon.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's all the interviews for tonight, folks. We're going to head back to run you through the final results for this evening. But here, though, overall, I think there was a lot of good performances tonight.
Yeah, indeed. It was real good performances all around from the guys that we know the usual stuff that can do the business. But for the guys who we know that can actually win up in front, but probably was surprised to be there, Lipa really did the business as well. We didn't least expect it. Especially given the fact that he had to soak up a lot of pressure throughout the entire race, and he managed to do it with a satisfying win for himself as well. And for us, we felt relieved because you can see how pressure he was throughout the entire race, but he managed to get it through in the end.
He did, and let's take a look at your final results for this evening then, folks, after qualifying into fabulous heats in Silverstone for AMX20. Your overall winner will be that man, Dino Filippa, who's tied actually with Kieran Harrison. So they both take the exact same prize pool of $120, and they will be your winners for tonight. Hamas Simon in third. Then it is a tie for fourth, three-way tie for fourth between David Tuck, Tobias Soriano and Gael Valero on 76. Juan Blaine Nat on 70. Peter Zuba 68 in 8th, and it was Marcos Savender on 56 in 9th, and tied with Gianni Vecco. But that's all we do have time for here tonight, folks, from Silverstone. Overall, AMX Zero, very entertaining with the Toyota GR86. AMX20, as always, provided us with some good action. Make sure to check out all the AMX social channels below, folks. The Instagram, Twitch, X, Discord, YouTube, website, and TikTok. If you want to race yourself, get on that website, amxrace.com. But it's been a pleasure to have you folks tonight. A big thanks to Amir for joining me, and a big thanks to all the production behind the scenes. My name's been Evan. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next Saturday at 5:50 p.m. GMT. Goodbye.